is where MAGA comes to talk. And we've got a lot to cover here. If you're on hold, hang in there. When we get back, I'm going to get into the jet gift from Qatar to President Trump, because what the media and the Democrats, they're trying to create scandal where there is none, which is what they do. Okay, and we are going to cover all of that. And obviously, I'm at the radio station today, as you can see. So I got some things going on that I got to be up here for today. And the number's the same, though, here at the radio station. If you'd like to call in, the number is pinned in the live stream, 888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. A toll-free call no matter where you're listening. But what they're trying to do with this jet gift is create the illusion of a scandal where there is no scandal. And we're going to break all that down when we get back from this break. Here we go.
Now back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig. Listen to the Palm Beaches on 95.9 FM, the Treasure Coast on 106.9 FM, hear us in Boca on 95.3 FM, Fort Lauderdale on 96.9 FM, and anywhere in the world at True Oldies.
All righty, we are back, coming up on 17 minutes after the hour. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. All right, now this plane from Qatar, which looks to be one of the most luxurious planes ever created. I don't know how this thing gets off the ground. It's so big. They're gifting President Trump a Boeing 747 to use as Air Force One. You know, and the media are trying to create a scandal where there is not one over this plane. They're calling it a bribe. Okay, every president of the United States receives gifts nonstop. From people that send them, like you or me, from countries, heads of states, organizations. They literally, each president, by the time they leave office, have a warehouse filled with gifts of varying values. They're not allowed to ever keep the gifts. Although the Clintons stole a bunch of stuff from the White House. Remember that? Oh, man. When the Clintons left the White House, they were stealing, remember, they were trying to, White House silverware, all kinds of stuff. They ripped off a bunch of stuff from Air Force One when they flew to Little, remember all that? But they're not allowed to keep any of the gifts. And typically what happens to the gifts, they get put in a warehouse somewhere. The White House warehouse, and sometimes they end up as decorations in White Houses, and a lot of times they end up in presidential museums, which there aren't as many of those as you think, because that's kind of a new thing, presidential museums. Now, this is a larger gift than usual, but it's just a gift. But why do you think President Trump is accepting this gift? It's pretty simple, and when I tell you, you'll realize it. Now, yesterday, he was signing this historic legislation about the prescription drugs, which I'll talk about that a little bit more later, too, because there's some things have happened with that. But a reporter asked him about the plane during the signing of that.
Mr. President, what do you say to people who view that luxury jet as a personal gift to you? Why not leave it behind?
You're ABC fake news, right?
Why not?
Only ABC, well, a few of you would. Let me tell you, you should be embarrassed asking that question. They're giving us a free jet. I could say, no, don't give us, I want to pay you $1 billion or 400 million or whatever it is. Or I could say, thank you very much. You know, there was an old golfer named Sam Snead. Did you ever hear him? He won 82 tournaments. He was a great golfer. And he had a motto, when they give you a putt, you say, thank you very much. You pick up your ball and you walk to the next hole. A lot of people are stupid. They say, no, I insist on putting it. And then they putt it and they miss it. And their partner gets angry at them. You know what? Remember that, Sam Snead. When they give you a putt, you pick it up and you walk to the next hole and you say, thank you very much.
Respectfully, sir, as a businessman, some people may look at this and say, have you ever been given a gift worth millions of dollars and then not received anything?
It's not a gift to me, it's a gift to the Department of Defense. And you should know better. because you've been embarrassed enough, and so has your network. Your network is a disaster. ABC is a disaster.
Okay. So, they're offering $1 billion gift. It may be more than that if you've seen the inside of this 747 to the United States. Who would turn down $1 billion gift? Who would do that? So why is President Trump doing it? Okay, and I'm not going to troll for calls on why. A lot of people do that. Oh, why do you think he's doing it? And then people call in, and the host will tell everybody they're wrong, even if they get it right. They try to milk it for the whole show. I don't do that. That's for the no talent. But the reason that he is taking this Boeing 747 from Qatar is a simple one: to stick it to Boeing. Boeing, they were supposed to have the new Air Force One done either this summer or fall. It was supposed to be delivered this year, and it's not. In fact, they're saying next year or 2027, towards the end of his presidency, and they're going to put that off. Now, if you remember, in Trump's first term, he negotiated a new deal with Boeing to get the new Air Force One fleet built. The current Air Force One is 30 plus years old. It was H.W. Bush's, Bush 1's Air Force One. And it's an old plane. And President Trump approved the new Air Force One, and he had a fight with Boeing, if you remember, over the price of building the new Air Force One fleet. And he negotiated. He knows about planes because he owns planes. In fact, he's got one plane that's smaller than Trump Force One that's unmarked. It's the fastest plane that civilians are allowed to own in the United States. It's that fast. He's sticking it to Boeing. He took a tour at the Palm Beach airport with Boeing of one of the aircraft with Elon. And Elon Musk is talking to Boeing to try to speed it up. Boeing has zero intention on delivering Air Force One to President Trump in this term. Do you understand that? They're ticked off at him, and they don't want him to have it. But he's sticking it to Boeing, but he's also doing something else. It's not just sticking it to Boeing, accepting this gift. If you remember, it's part of it. And it's a big part of it, sticking it to Boeing. But if you also remember this, I've always wondered why Air Force One is blue, gold, and white. Why isn't it red, white, and blue? And President Trump wondered the same thing. And when he approved the new Air Force Ones in his first term, he also approved the new paint job with the stars and stripes all over it, red, white, and blue. All over it. And he wants a new, magnificent, glorious Air Force One. Boeing is not planning on giving it to him. They're going to keep putting this off until after this term is over. Their plan is for him to never have that plane, Boeing. They're so ticked off. They had a USAID scam going, ripping off the federal government, charging him too much money for these planes. So Qatar offered this, and by the way, the plane Qatar's offering is also a Boeing. It's a Boeing, isn't it a 747? Okay. He's sticking it to them, and he wants to get it painted red, white, and blue like he plans. And fly around on that beautiful plane for America's 250th anniversary. He wants to fly around in that new, beautiful, majestic plane that Boeing should have delivered, and they're not, painted in the stars and stripes for the 250th anniversary and birthday of our great country next year. That's it. There's no scandal. I'll tell you what is scandalous. This prescription drug executive order, did you guys watch the whole event? I watched the entire thing, including the press. If you're on hold, hang in there. After the bottom of the hour, I'll go to the phones. I watched the whole thing, including the questions from the low-life media, okay? During my entire life, Democrats have been talking about prescription drug prices and getting them under control. When I was a kid in the 80s, when Ronald Reagan was president, they had liberals have urban legends they talk about all the time, right? They had different urban legends then. They repeatedly talked about how senior citizens were eating cat food instead of human food. I'm serious. Because of prescription drug costs. Remember that? I remember watching an episode of Highway to Heaven with Michael Landon. I bet you never heard of that show, have you? You know who Michael Landon is? No, don't. You know Michael Landon? No. Don't feel bad. He was a big star long before you were born. He played Paul on Little House on the Prairie. He was, what was his name on Bonanza? Oh, I forgot. What was Michael Landon's name on Bonanza? But anyway, Michael Landon was a liberal like everybody else in Hollywood. And I remember watching an episode of Highway to Heaven. And on Highway to Heaven, they had a whole storyline where Michael Landon, he played an angel on Earth trying to earn his wings. Little Joe, that's right. Little Joe on Bonanza. Thank you. In the YouTube live chat room. And Michael Landon this week on Highway to Heaven, this particular week, was working in a grocery store. And this guy came in to buy cat food, senior citizen, for his cat. And someone pointed out that his cat had died like weeks before. So Michael Landon lowered the price of the tuna fish or something. I remember watching that as a little kid. They used to push this thing because of prescription drug prices. Senior citizens were eating cat food. That was a big thing in the 80s. Right? And then Clinton became president after Bush won, and they didn't talk about cat food anymore. Senior citizens eat cat food when Republicans are president. When Democrats are president, they don't, apparently. But prescription drug prices and this ripoff that President Trump talked about yesterday, I've heard discussion of that from Washington and the media and liberals my entire life. President Trump did it. In fact, he didn't lower prices 80%. He lowered prices over 300% in some instances. And I'm listening to Fox yesterday, CNN and MSNBC. They're not talking about it. They're talking about that Newark mayor and these Congress people storming an ICE facility. I turn on Outnumbered. McEnany did a discussion on this on Outnumbered. A new report says Gen Z are willing to date non-humans. And on CNN, I forgot what they were talking about, but it wasn't the prescriptions. But that one of the biggest, and by the way, he said it's going to be in the big beautiful bill. Executive order yesterday, it's going to be in the big beautiful bill, and it's going to be law. The prescription, okay? No discussion. Why is that? Well, that's the scandal, not a gift from Qatar. The pharmaceutical companies own the television news. So they can't really report how bad they're ripping us off because they're paid for by the pharmaceuticals with the advertising. So they couldn't report this big story. And it was so obvious yesterday. And I didn't hear any of the conservative talkers anywhere bring this up yesterday. I was shocked. I knew I was going to bring it up this morning, but I thought it would be old news by now because I thought Benny Johnson and all these people that are supposed to be big deals like Glenn Beck, none of them talked about it. Glenn Beck, none of them. The media are owned by the pharmaceuticals and the military-industrial complex, but mostly the pharmaceuticals, and that's why they weren't covering it. And they're trying to make a scandal where there is none over this gift from Qatar. Now, I understand this is a large gift. It may be the largest individual gift given. But, I got to tell you, to Qatar, $1 billion is like cigar money, okay? It really is. They're super rich over there. Every president gets gifts, and some of them are expensive, and they're always gifts to the United States. All right. We'll take our bottom of the hour break. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show. Back after this.
Morning radio great again.
I think you're going to really love it.
It's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
If you're new, make sure you subscribe, guys. My name is Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Absolutely. And I will take some of these calls, and we've got a lot more to talk about, too. If you're on hold, hang in there. I mean, come on. What's the big freaking deal about the plane? If Boeing did their job, he wouldn't have to take the plane, right? But they're not doing their job. They should have had it to him.
Spot something on the roads, call the traffic tip line.
It's our bottom of the hour break.
Westbound traffic. Traffic, a service of the Palm Beach Kennel Club. Meet KC is Palm Beach County's only OTB location featuring exciting action from top horse tracks around the country, including thoroughbreds from New York, Kentucky, and California. The paddock is the perfect place to catch all the OTB and sports action with over 140 HD TVs, big screens, delicious food, full bar, and friendly service. For more info, go to pbkennelclub.com.
This is Dr. Phil Appleton, I'm a chiropractic physician. I've seen thousands and thousands of patients in my career. I've been a chiropractic physician here in Palm Beach for 40 years, working 6 days a week. If you have sciatica, if you have bursitis, if you have tendonitis, if you're tired of taking the pills, the drugs, the injections, and you've heard that you have to live with it, well, there's a lot of times you don't have to live with it.
Okay.
I've had great success with helping people. My testimonials are marvelous with patients. They love the treatment. There's no injections. There's no medication.
Welcome, everyone.
Surgery, there's none of that. It's strictly either laser, acupuncture.
Now, there's no scandal with anything to do with this plane. It's just a freaking joke is what it is, guys. It's just a freaking joke, right? All right, we're coming back.
0710 and online appletoncairo.com.
This is Mark Laporta, son of Tom Laporta and proud second-generation owner of Laporta Roofing. As a military veteran who served in the Army after 9/11, I've brought the same dedication and discipline to our family business. At Laporta Roofing, we've been serving our community for nearly 4 decades, and we're committed to continuing that legacy of excellence. Our team specializes in all types of roofing systems, from shingles to tile, slope, metal, and flat roofs. We're the go-to experts for single-family homes, HOA communities, and condo associations. What sets us apart is our unwavering commitment to customer satisfaction. I've personally implemented systems to ensure you receive the best in customer service and workmanship. Don't miss out on our limited time offer for a free roof inspection. Call us now at 954-604-4602 or visit us at laportaroofing.com. Trust the experts who have been protecting homes like yours for generations. Again, that number is 954-604-4602.
All right, here we go.
Now, back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig, celebrating 48 years on the air.
Alrighty, we're back. Callers on hold, stand by. Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. Okay, so, there's no scandal with this. And I'm looking forward to the plane, this Qatar Air Force One, to be in Trump's presidential museum because, I was so happy to hear President Trump mention the museum. And, I've told you guys, my retirement plans, whenever, I'll never fully retire. But when I retire one day, I plan on working as either a presidential historian or really a tour guide at the Trump Presidential Museum, which I'm assuming is going to be close to Mar-a-Lago here in Palm Beach, and I'm going to live here for the rest of my life. And I don't think there would be anyone who could be a better tour guide or presidential historian than me at the Trump Presidential Museum. All right? I mean, I think I'd be a great tour guide there. Absolutely. So I plan on spending a lot of time on that plane when it's parked at the Trump Presidential Museum. All right, let's go to the phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Phoenix, Arizona.
All right, Phoenix, go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to touch on the Boeing thing again because I think we're missing one key point here is, so how many of those jets do you actually think can fit up your ass?
Oh, at least one. All right, that's the first dump button of the day. Wow. This is what it's going to be like, during this whole term. And if you're on hold, stand by as we wait for the delay to re-engage. Oh, man. First call of the day. I should start keeping track of how many times, and if you're wondering what the dump button is, when someone uses profanity, one of the words you can't use on the radio, we're on a delay. The length of the delay depends on what radio station you're listening to us on or what platform you're listening to us on. And we go, I hang up on them, I hit the dump button, we go live, it cuts out the profanity. Now, if you watch on YouTube, you can most of the time hear it, which is fine. All right, 1-888-465-2631. But the reason that we're getting all this outrage from these liberals, where we're breaking records, I mean, we use the dump button more than Stern did when he was on the radio. I'm telling you, we do. It's fine. It's fine. I don't care. It gave me arthritis in my dump button finger that Dr. Appleton rid me of course, with his laser wave pain treatment. But it's because we're winning all these great things. You know, the things that President Trump has done just in the last couple days, right? Lower prescription drug prices, in some instances over 300%. Freed the last American hostage held by Hamas. He's got the summit meeting to end the over 5,000 deaths in the Ukraine-Russian war that are happening every day. On Thursday, the face-to-face meeting. These are things that are universally accepted as good. So the never-Trumpers and the Trump derangement syndrome sufferers are having freakouts, meltdowns, and outbursts. All right, let's go. The delay is re-engaged. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. Yeah, you're on the air. Yeah, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Oh, good morning. This is LP from Waxahachie, Florida. How are you today?
All right, Loxahatchee. What's up?
I believe that President Trump actually deserves even more. And the aircraft is just beautiful. Well, he deserves a spaceship, man. That's what he deserves. He deserves even more for what he's done for the people of the United States. And that's what I have to say.
All right, I appreciate it. You know, Elon Musk was, speaking of spaceships, Saturday morning, I want you guys to think about this. This is who President Trump has as an advisor, senior advisor, the first bud. I wake up early on the weekends like I do during the week just because of my body clock. And Saturday morning I wake up and I look and I see, oh, SpaceX is getting ready to launch in like 30 minutes. So I'm like, oh, that's cool. It was because it was dark out. And when it was time, I put it online. I saw the launch. I go out of my driveway. It was a clear morning, Saturday. And I watched the first bud, Elon Musk, launch another spaceship into space with satellites for his internet provider, which is very good. It was a beautiful sight. Do you know that his new rocket that he has is the largest spacecraft, the largest rocket ever constructed? Not only that, it is the largest manned vehicle ever constructed. People don't know that. That's who we have advising our president. Who do they have? Cokehead Hunter Biden, Jasmine Crockett, AOC. We've got a guy who sends rockets into outer space every single day. Real ones, not like those things that Jeff Bezos sends up. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Joanne from Tamarack.
Hey, Tamarack.
I would like if you could correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't France once gift us with a giant statue that's standing in New York Harbor?
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, the Statue of Liberty they gifted to the United States, and I bet you that at that time its value was pretty close to this jet. Thank you for mentioning that. It didn't even occur to me.
Yeah, and I wonder what the value of that is now. And
it's priceless. You cannot put a value. You cannot put a value on the Statue of Liberty. It's priceless.
Right. That's my point. And the other thing is, I only am concerned about this plane that they possibly could hide something in there, even though we go over it with a fine-tooth comb. I'm afraid if they hide some kind of
well, first of all, no, don't have to worry about that. The president can't just fly on any plane, right? So the plane that they give will literally be gutted and rebuilt on the inside. You know, Air Force One has to be able to maneuver under attack by fighter jets and rockets and all kinds of stuff. So they'll gut the plane and rebuild it from the inside out.
Just want to make sure our boy is safe.
Don't worry about Trump. He's got God on his side. He dodged a speeding bullet in Butler, right?
Right.
He's literally Superman.
Have a good day.
All right. Oh, man. How many packs a day do you think she smoked? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, good morning, good morning. First of all, two things. John Thune and a couple of the Republicans are already saying they don't want to codify the drug deal, and I am 100% behind Trump, but that's what he's got up in the Senate, a bunch of Republican rhinos, not the Democrats stopping them, but John.
Well, the pharmaceuticals don't just buy off Democrat members of Congress; they buy off a lot of Republicans too. Yeah.
And the other thing I want to say is this: it's not a scandal, but I'm going to ask you, and I just think it's a smart thing to do, but at the same time, it's a bad look from Qatar, who have harbor, for everyone knows it, harbor and give lush treatment to Hamas and a lot of terrorist groups in the Middle.
What does that mean? Okay, all right. Now listen. Slow down, Richie. Slow down. Couple things. The thing with this plane from Qatar. We'll talk about that first, and we'll talk about Qatar. President Trump may never fly on that plane as president. Okay, it may not, that plane is not made with countermeasures and all of that. He may just paint it like the new Air Force One for the museum and never fly in it because of the security and whatnot. That's one thing. But now, so far as I keep hearing this, Qatar harbors Hamas. Well, don't we? Okay, but don't we do the same thing at Columbia, at Harvard, at Princeton? And come on, and let's not forget about Obama. Okay, could the same not be said of the United States?
No, you're comparing total. The people in the United States, the movement might be the same, but the people in charge of Hamas and attacking Israel and threatening the United States for years, living like kings, have been harbored by that government.
Yeah, like at Columbia University.
If they acted in Gaza and acted on Israel, it's totally happened every day.
Listen here. I will never in my life travel to a Muslim country. I will never go to a Muslim country in my life, ever, till the day I'm dead, okay? Until I die. I never will, okay? And, as an example, I had an opportunity there's a tour group that goes to Tunisia. That's where they filmed the original Star Wars movie, and they take you to all the sites, Luke Skywalker's house and stuff. I could go on that for nothing. I'll never go to... But you can't enter Tunisia if you have an Israeli stamp on your passport. Can you believe? I'll never go to Tunisia. But here's the thing. Find a Muslim country where they don't hate Jews, where they're not people that hate Jews. Look at the Democrat Party. We've got Chuck Schumer, who's a Palestinian supporting Hamas. So I think that this virtue signaling that you and Ben Shapiro and some never-Trumpers are doing is ridiculous.
Hold on a minute. Virtue signaling when they actually finance the war against not only Israel, the threat to war against the United States.
What about Saudi Arabia? Who how many of the hijackers were from Saudi Arabia? 17 of the 19. I don't know if they still do this, but back in the 90s they used to have telethons on TV in Saudi Arabia to raise money for the PLO to blow up Jews. So should we not be friends with Saudi Arabia?
But that particular government has changed. And the government of Qatar has not changed. The government, just 6 months ago, they had all these people in there that just want to destroy us.
So they want to give him $1 billion. They want to give. Hold on. So they want to give a $1 billion, maybe even more, aircraft. They want to gift it to the United States. He shouldn't take it. $1 billion.
No. What I'm trying to say to you, it's a bad look. And should he take it? I guess he's already made his mind up. But Qatar, to me.
So you would turn down $1 billion gift?
That's the difference.
Well, no. I wouldn't. Listen. I told you I will never go to a Muslim country. But if they wanted to give me, if they wanted to give me $1 billion plane for the government of the United States, or me personally, I would take it and then I'd sell it.
Straight up.
Take the money.
If Germany, Hitler, okay, and Hitler had just gotten bumped off, but the Nazis still were in charge.
And they offered $1 billion plane to the United States to a president. You think?
Richie, I know that the critical race theorists want to think that some unknown black women are responsible for the Apollo moon landing, but we all know that Hitler's Nazi SS Gestapo rocket scientists are the reason that we made it to the moon. Okay, and the Apollo program. Nazi scientists worked on our entire space program from Mercury through the space shuttle. Okay, so come on. What you're doing is never Trumper, Republican establishment virtue signaling.
Never take a trip. Never take a gift from a country that harbors, not just harbors them, protected them forever.
Please.
Basically, well, come on, please. You don't.
Please.
It is ridiculous.
If Qatar wanted to give me $1 billion plane, I would proudly take it and sell it.
And you're protecting all the terrorists, right? That's what you would do.
How are you protecting the terrorists by receiving $1 billion gift?
Oh, my God. I wouldn't take crap from these people. You got to have some kind of standing. My God.
Yes. All right. Appreciate it. All right. Yeah. Maybe we got to change his name from Richie the bus driver to Never Trumper Richie, because every day he calls in with doom and gloom for something that the president's doing. I got to tell you guys, though, about Mike Lindell and MyPillow. You know, Mike Lindell has been a sponsor of ours for so long, and, you know, the MyPillow itself, which is just $19.98 with our promo code Kane, and check out, I have all the pillows. This is the standard MyPillow, the MyPillow that started it all. No, excuse me. No, that's the Giza pillow is just $19.98. Holy smokes. The regular pillow that started it all is just $17.98 with our promo code Kane at checkout. You know, when I got that first MyPillow was before Mike Lindell was a sponsor of ours on the program. I needed to get a good night's sleep. I tried everything. I got every type of pillow, the foam pillows, all different, the pillows with the feathers. I even got a pillow that cost over $200 from Brookstone that was a bamboo pillow. And I just gave up. I just thought that I had problems, and I was never going to get a good night's sleep. And I got a MyPillow. My wife got it for me. And I slept on it that first night, and it was a whole new experience. And I've been sleeping on MyPillow pillows ever since. If you do not have a MyPillow, you've never had a good night's sleep. You just don't know it yet. That patented fill that Mike Lindell invented that's inside of the pillows, what it does is it makes so that your head and neck perfectly fit in that pillow all night long, and you're not tossing and turning all night. When you toss and turn, you're waking yourself out of REM sleep. You may not remember it, but you are. It's like having sleep apnea. You will sleep like you've never slept before. I sleep 4 or 5 hours a night, and hear how well rested I am and energetic? It's because those 4 or 5 hours I get are well-rested, deep sleep. The MyPillow that started it all, just $17.98 with our promo code Kane. That first pillow I got, like, however many years ago, I paid like $65 for that. Just $17.98. You know, he's offering these MyPillow products at wholesale pricing because he got shut out of Walmart and Kohl's and all these places for his support of our great president. So go to MyPillow.com. Use our promo code Kane. You can also order by phone, toll-free, 1-800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879. Promo code Kane. We'll be right back.
The cold, hard truth. Delivered morning 6 to 9 right here on The Steve Kane Show.
Men, just because you're getting older doesn't mean you have to feel older. At the Bio Station, West Del Rey, Dr. Mitch Matez, an expert in hormone replacement therapy, is here to help you reclaim your youth. Hormone replacement therapy
Give me a break
and can restore your hormones
about the plane.
where they were in your 20s. You'll feel younger, have more energy, and even get your sex drive back. And for women, hormone
All right, where
replacement
am
therapy
I?
can completely stop and reverse the signs and symptoms of menopause. No more mood swings, better sleep, and no more night sweats. Call Dr. Matez for a free consultation today at 561-320-8893. That's 561-320-8893.
When it comes to dental work, there's no one better than Dr. Gupta at Brighton Dental. But don't just take my word for it. This is Richie the bus driver. He called in on the air to share his experience with Dr. Gupta.
You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, this is Richie, Dr. Gupta. I go 139 miles to this guy. I had a broken tooth. He fixed fixed it. It was supposed to be temporary. It lasted 2 years. He put dentures in my mouth that are a lot cheaper than anybody else. And he's excellent and no pain. I recommend this guy. To me, he's the best ever. So I want to get that out of the way.
Listen to Richie the Bus Driver. Go see Dr. Gupta at Brighton Dental. 954-922-4633. 954-922-4633.
This is Steve Kane.
We'll be back shortly, guys.
My favorite restaurant in all of South Florida, Wings Plus in Coral Springs. Wings just the way you like them. Plump, tender, and delicious. Crispy on the outside, succulent on the inside. Everything homemade. Nothing comes out of a can. Dozens of specialty
If you would like to call in, the number is pinned in the live chat. It's a toll-free call.
Springs, a mile west of University on the south side of Sample Road.
What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, Brian. This is Donna from Jupiter. I'm calling to share my great experience with Jupiter Joe. My husband and I started listening to you a few years ago, and that's when we learned about Jupiter Joe Thomas. We're seniors with no pension and collect Social Security. All our investments were in stocks and IRAs until we heard about Jupiter Joe, speaking of having your money work for you. So we got in touch with him, and he went above and beyond trying to locate all our diversifications. He answered all our questions clearly and returned every phone call. He recommended an annuity that enabled us to get a safe monthly income for life. So I just want to tell everyone, if you're in need of additional income, especially with the high cost of everything these days, please call Joe Thomas. It's no cost to you. He is so professional, knowledgeable, trustworthy, and you can put total confidence in him. My husband and I can't say enough good things about Jupiter Joe and his staff.
I want to thank you for your kind words for Jupiter Joe Thomas. If you want to call Joe Thomas, I'm going to give you his number. It's a no-charge consultation, which you can take advantage of no matter where you're located. 561-743-0999. 561-743-0999. And online, jupiterjoe.com.
We take on the social justice warriors for breakfast. Now the Steve Kane Show is on the air.
Indeed it is. I'm Brian. We're back. Okay, so let me just finish up with the Qatar plane, which I'm glad the president's taking it. And then we'll move into some other things. I want to play this clip. This is Ben Shapiro, and obviously Richie listens to Ben Shapiro because he said practically word for word what Ben Shapiro says. Oh, hold on. Hit the wrong button there. Okay, so this is Ben Shapiro yesterday talking about the gift of $1 billion aircraft to the United States.
The Trump administration is now preparing to accept a super luxury Boeing 747-8 jumbo jet from the royal family of Qatar. It is a $400 million gift available for use by President Trump as new Air Force One until shortly before he leaves office, at which time, according to the deal, the plane doesn't stay with the United States government. It then moves to the Trump Presidential Library Foundation, taking sacks of goodies from people who support Hamas, the Muslim Brotherhood, Al Jazeera, all the rest. That's not America first. Like, please define America first in a way that says you should take sacks of cash from the Qatari royals who are behind Al Jazeera. It just isn't America first in any conceivable way. So, back to the original question. Is this good for President Trump? Is it good for his agenda? Is it good for draining the swamp and getting things done? The answer is no, it isn't. It isn't. If you want President Trump to succeed, this kind of skeezy stuff needs to stop. The Trump
Skeezy. Oh, boy. All right, Ben Shapiro, he's a big never Trumper, and shame on Ben Shapiro. That was yesterday. You know, this country has never had a stronger supporter of Israel than Donald Trump. He got the last American hostage released from Hamas in Gaza yesterday. He was a Jewish American kid. He was 19 when they captured him, these Hamas terrorists. He's 21 years old now. And he's trashing Trump, accusing him of being friends with anti-Semites and haters of Israel. You know, you've got to be friendly with some of these countries to get things done. If Qatar, Qatar, of course it's a Muslim country. Of course they don't like Jews. Of course they're doing things and involved in things that you don't like. But to get things done, you can't give them the middle finger when they're going to give you $1 billion gift to your country. Accepting that gift will allow President Trump to get them involved to do some backdoor dealing on things sometimes that has to be done that result in saving the lives of Americans, like the hostage that he got released yesterday. And I'm going to tell you, shame on Ben Shapiro. Just shame on him. For after what he did yesterday for Israel, to talk about President Trump like that, shame on you, Ben Shapiro. Shame on you. You should be praising President Trump, not doing the bidding of the never-Trumpers as he's done. He's always been a never-Trumper, Ben Shapiro, so it's not surprising. If you want to get deals done and things done, you've got to make friends. Qatar obviously is connected to a lot of bad people. And President Trump's going to be making lifelong friendships with the gift of this plane to the United States they're making. How many lives could be saved, Israeli and American lives? Because of this? Very short-sighted. Very short-sighted. Now, I want to talk about these, let's take a call or two. Then I want to talk about the South African refugees that the media are having meltdowns about. The thing with Ben Shapiro, I'll say this. I'm a strong supporter of Israel. When it comes to Israel, I agree with Ben Shapiro. But he's just not a likable person, is he? I mean, I don't believe Ben Shapiro has a single likable quality. At all. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? At least be creative. I don't mind the attempt at trolling, but at least have an attempt at creativity. All right? Not that. Now, after the top of the hour, I'm going to get into the refugees that are coming from South Africa, but I'm going to give you a bit of a spoiler on the refugees from South Africa. The reason that the liberal media are opposing them is pretty simple. They're white, and I'll get into this in the next hour. You're getting a little preview. Liberals, even white liberals, believe that white people should have their property stolen. They should be terrorized and whatever else they're doing to them in South Africa. It's true. In fact, what's going on in South Africa is what the critical race 1619 racist and BLMers were planning on doing in this country to white people if the Democrats maintained control and wokeism took over, okay? If you're white, you deserve to be killed. If you're white, you deserve to have your property stolen. If you're white, you deserve to be terrorized. That's why the media, it just ticks me off listening to people in the media who keep, it's because of the deportations. It has nothing to do with the deportations of the illegals. That's just their excuse. But I'm going to we'll get into this in the next hour, and I'll play some of the audio from the fake news media about it. I was talking earlier when I was talking about Laporta Roofing, about the rainy season. Oh my goodness, the roads are wet. You don't want to be driving around on tires that are bald. You want to drive around on the Florida roads during rainy hurricane season, because it's going to be raining every day, guys, pretty much, and rains a lot. You want to be driving on new tires that have great tread, where you're not going to be hydroplaning, and that's where Friendly Tire comes in Margate. You can get new tires out the door and on the road for as low as $70 a tire, because remember, out the door and on the road, because Friendly Tire doesn't charge you to mount the tire, balance the tire, or even dispose of your old tire. He has all the name brands you know and love, Michelin, Pirelli, Firestone, whatever you like. He can get tires for any type of vehicle, including Teslas, which take special tools to change the tires. He has those. So if you have a Tesla, you get great deals. We have so many people that are like door dashers and Uber drivers and Lyft drivers. They go to Friendly Tire because you're not going to find new tires at these incredible prices. He has thousands of good used tires in stock, but the new tires are so affordable that you really go for the new tires, guys. Give him a call. He'll give you a quote right over the phone. 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445. That's 954-977-9445 for Friendly Tire in Margate. Make sure you mention you heard about him on the Steve Kane Show. He'll take extra good care of you. All right, 1 hour down, 2 to go. It's the Steve Kane Show. My name is Brian Craig. Our number is toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call no matter where you are listening. We'll be back right after this.
WSF. And now, a True Oldies traffic check. Brought to you by the Palm Beach Kennel Club.
I-95 and southbound Yamana Road, a collision now on the right shoulder. Northbound 95 at 10th Avenue North. Debris reported in the center lane. Spot something on the roads, call the traffic tip line. Pound 250, keyword West Palm traffic. I'm Rogers.
Traffic, a service of the Palm Beach Kennel Club. WKC is your entertainment destination. Poker, OTB, table games, and exciting events. This Saturday, come out and watch, wager, and win on the second leg of the Triple Crown, the Preakness Stakes. The paddock is the perfect place to catch all the OTB and sports action and over 140 HD TVs, delicious food, full bar, and friendly service. For more info, go to pbkennelclub.com.
Hi, True Oldies listeners. It's Jupiter Joe here. Let's face it, times are tough. You've worked hard for your money, and now more than ever, you need to protect your money and make it last. Now is the time to review your 401k, IRA, or money you want to protect and make safer. Go to jupiterjoe.com. Let's talk about retirement, or call 561-743-0999. Again, jupiterjoe.com.
When it comes to dental work, there's no one better than Dr. Gupta at Brighton Dental. But don't just take my word for it. This is Richie the bus driver. He called in on the air to share his experience with Dr. Gupta.
You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, this is Richie, Dr. Gupta. I go 139 miles to this guy. I have a broken tooth. He fixed it. It was supposed to be temporary. It lasted 2 years. He put dentures in my mouth that are a lot cheaper than anybody else. And he's excellent and no pain. I recommend this guy. To me, he's the best ever. So I want to get that out of the way.
Listen to Richie the bus driver. Go see Dr. Gupta at Brighton Dental. 954-922-4633. 954-922-4633.
Hey, Vic, how you doing? All right. Good.
Quieter.
You see what I mean? Yeah. I threw the Pringles away.
Gotcha.
Alrighty. I don't know who would be eating Pringles. Let me see.
It's inside.
I guess we'll have to pick it up by hand.
I can.
Well, no, I don't want you to do that. We'll come up back.
They were too expensive. Find friendly prices at Friendly Tire and Margate on both new and used tires. New tires as low as $70 a tire. That's out the door and on the road because Friendly Tire doesn't charge you to balance the tire. They have thousands of used tires in stock too, starting at just $3. Call for a quote right over the phone.
I don't know who you don't eat. Well, first off, you can't talk.
And you at the same time. You just know your mouth is
Oh man, I bet Mark Levin doesn't do what we were just doing. During the break, Mike and I were on our hands and knees cleaning the carpet. Someone was eating Pringles in here, and there's Pringle crumbs all over the studio. All right, welcome back. Hour number 2 has begun. If you're on hold, hang in there. I want to get into, you're welcome to call in about anything I brought up in the first hour, but I want to get into the South African refugees. Now, obviously, Elon Musk, being an immigrant from South Africa, has made President Trump very well aware of the terrorism that white South Africans are going through. And, apartheid, I remember, I think it was the first Lethal Weapon movie was about South African apartheid. If you remember, Cougarans. It was about the whole first Lethal Weapon movie was about how, I'm pretty sure it was Lethal Weapon 1, not 2. On Gary Busey was in that one, and they were illegally buying Cougarans, which you can now buy. During apartheid, you couldn't buy Cougarans. Those are the 1 ounce gold coins from South Africa. And I remember when Mandela got out of prison, and it was a pretty big deal when Mandela got out of prison. I didn't look up what year that was, but I was probably in high school. And when Mandela got released from prison, it was the first time the world had seen him since he went to prison like 20 years before. And when he went to prison, he was a big, muscular guy. And when he came out of prison, he looked like you all know him, a little skinny guy like Obama. And it showed the mistreatment he went through. And South Africa during apartheid was a majority black country that had very racist white people running it. And apartheid ended. And it ended for a number of reasons. But anyway, it ended. And it ended like 30 years ago. And the white people in South Africa, I don't know why anyone's there who's white. They've been terrorized ever since. And I've been hearing stories for 20 years about white farmers who were being terrorized in South Africa. So President Trump allowed how many? 50 vetted refugees from South Africa. These are real refugees that are fleeing murder, rape, terrorism. You know, the fake refugees from South America, they've told us that they were fleeing climate change, if you remember. So the first South African refugees landed in America yesterday, and the media just started having insane meltdowns, and it's all obvious because they're white and they hate white people. The open racism from the left, and it's not just black liberals, it's white liberals too. Their open hatred towards white people is insane to me. You know, all the civil rights laws that ended all the Democrats' slavery and Jim Crow and segregation, all that stuff, those laws were passed in this country by white people. White people freed the slaves. White people ended Jim Crow. White people ended segregation. It was because blacks were not in positions of power to do such things. Okay? And I'm not comparing us to apartheid in South Africa. As bad as the Democrat South was, it was not as bad as apartheid. Although the slavery was worse, the Democrat slavery and the antebellum era was worse. But listen to this. This is a woman by the name of Donna Edwards, a liberal, on MS 13 BC yesterday. Listen.
In my view, what makes it different is that they are white South Africans.
Oh, yes, that's different. They're white! Oh, well, you should have said so. Now I understand why we shouldn't let these honkies hear.
Well, in my view, what makes it different is that they are white South Africans. The president, in my view, has not hidden his racism behind a bushel. In fact, you know, in his policies, whether it's removing government workers or, in this case, admitting white South Africans while denying refugee status, asylum seekers from other countries, principally Central and South American and black nations, to come into this country. And so I think that, you know, this policy, while it's not surprising in this action, really speaks of the underlying message in this that disrespects and shows disdain for people of color, while embracing these Afrikaners. Now, and also...
And by the way, these are true Africans that are coming here. These white South Africans, Afrikaners, they're true African. You know, because that's where they're born. The refugees that they call refugees from South America, that's a racket. They're not refugees. They're not climate refugees. They come here to retire. Now, that was MSNBC. This is CNN.
That is that the people who are native to that land deserve their rightful land back. That is not what the Afrikaners actually want to have happen, which are the white Africans, and so who are not originally from Africa, who...
Hold on. I hit the wrong
colonize South Africa also. And so that is what they are saying is discrimination. Now, if the Constitution in South Africa is discriminatory, they have their checks and balances in that land just like we do. And that is for them to, so if the Afrikaners don't actually like the land, they can leave.
They can leave. Okay. I mean, there's this, Steve has this thing called the shoe on the other foot test. You change some of the words and it sounds different. If these whiteys down there in South Africa, they don't like it, they can leave. What if you said, if these black people don't like it in America, they can leave and go back to Africa? What would that sound like? It sounds like what it sounds like, right? These people are out of their minds. These people are out of their minds. And, what's really insane to me is how comfortable and justified they feel in their obvious racism. And it went on all day. And sometimes from white people, this is Andrea Mitchell on MSNBC.
And they got this big celebration, and these are the only, white African descendants of apartheid, the European colonialists, or those who participated in apartheid. They were abolished.
European colonialist? I mean, by their standard, that means I'm a European colonialist. Andrea Mitchell's a European colonialist. What are they talking about? I mean, the words and phrases they use.
Including children.
South Africa says that the allegations about persecution of these people, the allegations are false.
Oh, yeah, of course. They've been murdering these people for years. There was one other one I wanted to play. Hold on, let me cue this up, and then I'll go to the phones. One of my least favorite people. Oh, yes. This is MSNBC again. Listen to this. This is nuts. What these people continue to say and promote.
Trump has virtually halted refugee admission in America for people fleeing war and famine in places like Sudan and the Democratic Republic of Congo. Back with Rick, Mark, and Eddie. Rick Stengel.
Yes, it's so deeply and morally wrong-headed and repulsive. These are the descendants of the people who created the most diabolical system of white supremacy in human history.
Oh, they're the descendants. So now this is interesting. So you are guilty now. That this is MSNBC. This is a white liberal. You are guilty of whatever wrong your ancestors did? Well, how far does that go back? So let me get this straight. Okay? If you've got an ancestor who committed a crime, you're a criminal? If you've got if that's true, I think that AOC should be arrested. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, her ancestor is the conquistador Cortez, who's responsible for the annihilation of the Inca people of South America. He's one of the biggest slaughterers of people in the history of humanity, and she's a descendant, AOC, of Cortez. Are we going to hold... Maybe the MSNBC panel could get into that a little bit. What is AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, moral responsibility for the crimes of her ancestor, the conquistador Cortez?
Back with Rick, Mark, and Eddie. Rick Stengel.
Yes, it's so deeply and morally wrong-headed and repulsive. These are the descendants of the people who created the most diabolical system of white supremacy in human history.
And you notice how these liberals, they pronounce words differently? The way he said white supremacy, the way they say Qatar, they pronounce things. The way they pronounce apartheid, they got all these liberal pronunciations.
Apartheid. They're not directly responsible for it, but it was a system that actually moved black people off of the arable land. So they inherited the land that the black people had to give up. It was
okay. Now you remember when Obama was president. You won't. This is you can research this and you'll see. It might take you 5 minutes of Googling because they've tried to suppress this. You know, this came out when Obama was president. You know Anderson Cooper, that idiot liberal jerk on CNN? Anderson Cooper? He is a descendant of the Vanderbilt family. His mother's Gloria Vanderbilt, which is an old blue blood family. Do you know that Anderson Cooper's family not only owned slaves? This was reported when Obama was president. Do you know that Anderson Cooper's family owned Michelle Obama's ancestors? He doesn't talk about that too much, but he did. It was widely reported at the time. So are we going? This is MSNBC, but are we going to hold Anderson Cooper responsible for the slaves that the Vanderbilt family owned? According to MSNBC, we should.
Called forced removal. Something called a Bantustan policy, where they moved black people out of the cities and farmlands into these remote areas with non-arable land. I mean, it was just one of the most worst processes ever. But what has happened in this strange, bizarre world we're living in is that the Afrikaners have become the darling of these right-wing, white supremacist movements around the world.
See how they say white supremacist movements instead of supremacist? White supremacist. Oh my goodness. We are opposed to the oppression of anyone.
That it's like the lost cause for them. It's like the old Confederacy. They're held up as these white Christians who are being dispossessed of their land. It's like this is a modern replacement theory in a country where, by the way, white people make up 7% of the population and own 78% of the farmland. So it's actually, there's no injustice here.
There's no injustice. They're stealing their farmland and shooting them dead. Right? And there's no injustice?
As you mentioned, it's taking
that's,
places away from...
That's what I was telling you about liberals. And this is what their plan was for the United States, okay? With their critical race theory and stuff. This was like Joy Reid's fantasy. They believe white people deserve to have their property stolen from them. They believe white people deserve to be murdered for the injustices of the past, which we're responsible for because our ancestors may have been involved in something.
Refugees were really being crushed by authoritarian governments and military governments. For these folks who have never had anything happen to them. And Trump amazingly called it a genocide, one of the worst lies I've ever heard him say. There's just been a small handful of farmers that have been killed over...
Oh, only a small handful of white farmers have been killed? Okay. Oh, well, you didn't say it was only a small number. Are you freaking kidding me? You know, remember that Golden State Killer they got a few years ago, the serial killer? Remember they got him from the DNA testing? Remember, like 5 years ago, that 21, what was it called? 21 and something? You could get DNA testing for like nothing, which I didn't do. And somebody in the family, they got the serial killer. So does that mean that everyone in his family that's connected genetically is responsible for his killings?
For the past 10 years, no land has actually been expropriated. So it's just a farce and a sham and a moral ugliness.
What happens now that he's taken this step?
Yeah, oh my goodness. Giving refugee status to people who are having their land stolen and their families murdered. What are we going to do that he's standing up against this?
I don't know. I mean, it's like a Batman movie or something where all the bad guys get collected under one roof. I mean, like, who else do you now go?
See what I mean? The bad guys, white people, are the bad guys, just based on the fact that they're white.
And find other racists who have, repressed people and give them refugee status here. It's just, I don't know where it goes from here, but I mean, you even said it. It's like a headline from The Onion. I don't even know how to get more extreme than this.
I think it's important for us to understand that the Trump administration is a lot of things, but one thing it certainly is a white nationalist project.
Oh my goodness. So a white nationalist project. That's interesting. Very interesting. So if you take a group of people and save their lives that are going to be murdered because they're white, you're a white supremacist? These people are out of their minds.
And oftentimes we don't want to describe it as such. I'm not reducing it to it, because there's greed, there's graft, there's all sorts of things happening around it. But we need to understand the way in which great replacement theory is driving this. There's a sense in which...
Oh, this guy, I can't play him anymore. He smiles when he talks and then makes dramatic pauses. There was this, I know guys on the other, there was a guy, what was his name? He was on the air in Atlanta. Neil Bortz. Is Neil Bortz still on the air? Is he still alive? Anybody remember Neil Bortz? He was on the air in Atlanta, and he did a show like this. And he would say something, and then he would pause, and there'd be dead air. And you know what the dead air was for? So you could ponder the brilliance that he uttered into the microphone, his brilliant thoughts, and just be amazed at Neil Bortz's wisdom. I can't stand smile talkers, but I think the point's, like this guy, the point's been made. I'm very late for the break. So if you're on hold, hang in there. I'll take our break and talk about it and take your calls when we're back.
Don't sit on the sidelines. Get in on the action. Call the Steve Kane Show live on air now. 888-GO-KANE-1. This is the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
Hey, it's Scott on the radio reminding you that your favorite...
Are there any live reads?
Center in Pompano. Numbness, pain, burning, tingling in my hands and feet, muscle weakness, loss of balance, muscle twitching have all but disappeared. Say goodbye to your neuropathy symptoms. Call Lighthouse Medical Center for a free consultation. 754-222-6642. Tell them Steve Kane sent you.
We're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Lynn from Boeing. I just received my 7th and 8th set of Mike Lindell sheets. This time we got flannel ones, which we had never had. I got one for my husband for Christmas. He loves it. Oh my God. And especially with the cold days and nights you've been having the last few months in Florida. I got 2 more. I send them to my friends for Christmas now, and they just love them. Absolutely love them.
I have the flannels too. You're like Goldilocks. They keep you the same temperature all night long.
Yes. So perfect. But the guy just has a great product.
The thing with Mike Lindell sheets, all of them, the fitted sheet at the bottom fits perfectly on the mattress. Every other sheet, you can't get the 4 corners on. And it's almost impossible. Even after having them for years and washing them I don't know how many times, they still fit perfectly.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
You're probably going to be on the next My Pillow commercial, just so you know, okay? Because okay, just to let you know.
You heard Lynn from Boynton. She loves her My Pillow sheets. Order yours right now at a huge discount. Use our promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, at checkout at mypillow.com.
Now, back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig. Listen in the Palm Beaches on 95.9 FM, the Treasure Coast on 106.9 FM, hear us in Boca on 95.3 FM, Fort Lauderdale on 96.9 FM, and anywhere in the world at TrueOldiesFLA.com.
Alrighty, we're back. Just a quick addition to that My Pillow message from our nice listener. Right now, the special, all sizes and colors, from twin, single, queen, king, California king, split king, no matter the size, no matter the color, the Giza Dream Sheets, just $49.98 with our promo code KANE. Huge savings, no matter the size or color, just $49.98 with our promo code KANE. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, it's Renee from Harlem.
Hey, Renee.
Yeah, I've been listening to your apartheid radio, and I just got to let you inform your racist listeners. Elon Musk is trying to bring apartheid to this country, and those Afrikaners need to go right back where they came from. Now, that would not be Africa. That would be the Netherlands, which is really where they're from. And they don't want them in there either. But, you know, apartheid Musk is not going to be bringing a bunch of racists to this country, because I got a guy to introduce you to. His name is Julius Malema. He has the economic freedom fighters in South Africa. And they're taking their land back, and they're not giving them compensation. And
Okay, all right, couple things, Renee. Couple things here. Okay, couple things. I'll let you get off your chest, your nonsense. Couple things you said. Number one, you said that I support apartheid. You said apartheid radio. If that were true, why would I let black people like you call in? If we really were apartheid supporters, why would we allow black people like you to call in this program and say the things that you say?
Because you get a kick at it.
Okay. I think the point's made to the audience. The second thing is this. You're holding these people accountable for what their ancestors did, right? Some of them are children. In this country, thank the Lord above, we don't do that in America. If you go to America's maximum security federal prisons, the majority population of the violent criminals are people of color. We wouldn't assume that because you're a person of color that you're a violent criminal. Why do you have these negative genetic stereotypes that you attach to honkies?
You really should not bring up the Bible, because God...
I didn't bring up the Bible. I didn't mention the Bible. You're trying to avoid it. You're trying to avoid the point I made.
You're going to talk over me.
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
Yeah, well, listen for a second. The Bible, Revelation 13, verse 9, has a prescription for what is in store for people like you and the descendants of slave owners. Yeah, because God has a judgment for people like you.
Okay, so white people are all going to die. That's your view. That's isn't that nice? I mean, did Renee call in just to validate my entire case that I was making in this? Because he seemed to do a better job than anyone could possibly imagine of validating every charge I made in the last 30 minutes. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
It's Mr. Sarasota Jack. How's it going, Brian?
All right. What's up?
So let me make this statement without you cutting me off. Trump's accepting a $400 million jet, and he's pushing a $880 billion cut to Medicare and Medicaid. He's trying to force people, millions of low-income Americans, off of health insurance. How is that helping America? How is making America great again?
Okay, nothing you said is true. Everything you said is untrue.
Right.
I'm going to explain. First of all, President Trump is not receiving anything from Qatar. The plane's worth probably $1 billion, not $400 million, but it's a gift to the United States government, not to the president. That's number one.
Earlier, interesting about Qatar. You said that they are, with a lot of bad people. Did you know that they're one of the primary funders of Hamas?
Iran is the primary funder of Hamas, which every Democrat of the last 40 years has been making deals with. Hamas is Iran. Iran is Hamas. The other thing you talked about was cutting did you say Medicaid?
Medicare and Medicaid cut.
The only cuts that are being done to the Medicaid system, and then I'll tell you about Medicare, the only cuts being done to Medicaid are all these illegals that have been on it. They're no longer going to be on it. Illegals, people that are here illegally, are no longer going to be able to receive those benefits. That's what they're referring to as a cut. So far as Medicare, President Trump is saving Medicare with the prescription executive order that's going to be passed into law. Everything you said is totally false.
You're lying, Brian, and you know it.
Why? So why would President Trump? Excuse me. So do you mean? Excuse me. Do you mean to tell me? Medicare is for senior citizens, correct? Senior citizens receive Medicare, right? No, hold on a second here. Sarah, what's your name? Kangaroo Jack? Says Sarasota Jack. Sarasota Jack. Medicare is primarily for senior citizens, correct?
Medicare is for a lot of low-income Americans.
No, that's Medicaid. There's Medicaid and there's Medicare. Medicaid is for the lower income people primarily. Medicare is what you get when you retire, when you reach 65, right? You don't even know. You don't even know. You don't even know what Medicare is or the differences between that and Medicaid.
He's cutting both of them, Brian, and it's not good for him.
No, excuse me. Because I know, with the talking points, all right? Medicare, Jack, slow it. I don't have to check Jack, okay? I know what I'm talking about. Medicare, I know you don't want I know you don't want me to say what I'm going to say, but I'm going to say it, and I want you to hear it. And I want to ask you a question. Medicare is, excuse me, it's taking a long time because you won't stop talking. Medicare, I know you want me to hang up on you, but I'm not going to yet. I'm late for the break, but I'm not going to hang up on you yet. No. Medicare is for senior citizens. So you mean to tell me that President Trump, who is about to end taxing on Social Security, that President Trump is going to take Medicare health insurance coverage away from American senior citizens?
The current bill up in front of Congress is going to cut Medicare and Medicaid.
No. Are you telling me that he is going to take Medicare away from American seniors?
He is cutting those.
So you don't know. All you know is what you heard some liberal idiot say on CNN or MSNBC, and you're regurgitating it.
Look it up if you want to look at the bill and prove me wrong.
Oh, okay. Now, when I look at the bill, since you've obviously read this, bill that hasn't been released to the public yet, maybe you're in Congress. When I go to the bill that has not been released to the, excuse me, when I go to the bill that has not been released to the public, so there's no way you could have read it, where in this bill that nobody has seen while I look? Oh my goodness. Read a bill that hasn't even been written yet, by the way. They haven't even written the bill. But he said read it. How can I read something that has not yet been written? We'll be back.
Making morning radio great again. It's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
Hey, it's Scott on the radio.
Wednesday and Thursday, comfortably, completely clear, 83 degrees in the days, 76 degrees in the morning, wind still at 10 miles an hour. That's weather. I'm sad.
And now, a true oldies traffic check. Brought to you by the Palm Beach Kennel Club.
On the turnpike, there's a broken down vehicle reported north of PGA Boulevard. There's a backup reported on the turnpike northbound.
I'm trying to call him.
Yeah, he may not be ready because he might be thinking 8:15, but let's try.
Gotcha.
And if he's not ready, maybe we could do it going into the 8 o'clock break. Like call him at 5 to 8. Like if he's not ready, then say
I was gonna say, because should I put at least one commercial in then? Because
just a standby, yeah. I see, yeah.
So I'll throw one commercial.
But if we could do it at 7:45, it'd be the best.
Delicious food, full bar, and friendly service. For more info, go to pbkennelclub.com.
If you're a homeowner or with a homeowners association and your roof is old or compromised, you need to call Tom Laporta at Laporta Roofing. Laporta Roofing has been in the roofing and construction business since 1984, with thousands of roof installations and thousands of satisfied customers. Did you know that in the state of Florida, you can open a roofing company and borrow someone else's license? Tom Laporta is the holder of his roofing and general contractor's licenses, not like the other companies that borrow other people's licenses. So be sure who you're dealing with. Tom Laporta and his team are honest, knowledgeable, and reliable, and he'll never sell you a roof you don't need. Laporta Roofing carries all insurance, including workers' compensation on all of its employees, not just a waiver like other contractors. Laporta Roofing can handle any type of roofing job too: residential roofing, HOAs, condominiums, and churches. If it's roofing, Laporta Roofing can do it. So call Tom Laporta on his cell phone, 954-604-4602, or connect online at laportaroofing.com. That number again is 954-604-4602. Laporta Roofing, the go-to roofing company you can trust.
Stepped on my headphone cord.
When you're looking for a retirement advisor, you don't trust and experience are two things wrong with that for. And as it turns out, my friend Jupiter Joe Thomas possesses both of these. Whether you're in retirement or looking to retire, I want you to give local expert Joe Thomas a call. Here's the number, 561-743-0999. Or, even simpler, you can go to jupiterjoe.com. Mention my name, John Tesh. You'll receive a free copy of Joe's book, Retirement Know-It-All. Great book. Call 561-743-0999. Or remember, go to jupiterjoe.com. That's jupiterjoe.com.
Now, back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig, celebrating the
Alrighty, we're back. I'm Brian, Steve Kane Show. Welcome back. If you're on hold, hang in there. I want to talk about the free doorbell camera offer from Sloman. You know, a couple years ago, you get a notification on your cell phone every time there's notification. Anytime there's movement at your door, you get notification on your cell phone. You can see it. A couple years ago, I was leaving the house. I was leaving my development. I got a notification that was moving at my door. I was a little concerned. I looked. One of my cats got out. That's an indoor cat. Went back home, saved a cat. I mean, that's amazing. I know, it's crazy. But you can get a doorbell camera for free with the installation of your Sloman Shield that connects to your cell phone too. Sloman's, they're also going to give you a free customized home security system and professional installation when you use their low-cost central station monitoring. You get an LED touchscreen, a motion detector, 10 contacts, a lifetime warranty, a backup battery, plus you'll receive a free doorbell camera with the installation of your Sloman Shield. Give them a call, 833-283-5050. That's 833-283-5050. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. Speak up. Yes.
Hello?
Yes, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Oh.
So I'm calling from Northern California.
Uh-huh. What's up, Alicia?
No, it's not Alicia, it's Lisa.
Oh, okay, Lisa in Northern California. What's up, Lisa? And
am I speaking, it's Brian Craig?
that is me, yes. You called me, Lisa. You must have something to say.
That's really weird, because I'm watching you on YouTube Live, and you're having a different conversation.
Because you're watching another part of the show. You're on YouTube. You're not caught up in real time. But you're talking to me live. This is what's on your mind.
Okay, just recently on your YouTube Live, you were speaking with a man, and I wanted to know how you felt about that.
I was speaking with a man? Which man?
Give me...
Be more specific. What was I speaking to the man about?
That much of a lag?
Tell me. I talked to a lot of people. Tell me what I was talking to them about. And what inspired you to call? I have no idea what you're...
Making you mad. He was making you big.
About what? You got to narrow it down. That's like everybody.
I guess I'm just an A.
Why are you...
You mad at A?
Why are you a liberal?
Oh, shit.
Oh, there we go. Second time today. Oh, my goodness. See what happens when they legalize marijuana? Oh my God! You know what is it with the liberals with the profanity? The profanity is really a lifeline. Now I want to play this. This was the shocking statement. Oh my goodness! I know, guys. I know. Shocking statement. If you're on hold, hang in there. Waiting for little A to build back up. Shocking statement from the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom yesterday. Listen. Oh, hold on. I gotta hit the on button. Here we go. Prime Minister of the UK yesterday.
Let me put it this way. Nations depend on rules.
Fair rules. Sometimes they're written down. Often they're not. But either way, they give shape to our values, guide us towards our rights, of course, but also our responsibilities, the obligations we owe to each other. Now, in a diverse nation like ours, and I celebrate that, these rules become even more important. Without them, we risk becoming an island of strangers, not a nation that walks forward together. So when you have an immigration system that seems almost designed to permit abuse, that encourages some businesses to bring in lower paid workers rather than invest in our young people, or simply one that is sold by politicians to the British people on an entirely false premise, then you're not championing growth, you're not championing justice, or however else people defend the status quo. You're actually contributing to the forces that are slowly pulling our country apart. So yes, I believe in this. I believe we need to reduce immigration significantly. That's why some of the policies in this white paper go back nearly 3 years. Why I told the Labour Party conference, taking back control is a Labour argument. And why, most importantly of all, inward migration is already falling with this government.
Okay, so that's pretty hardcore because he's a Labour leader. He's very liberal. He is also an atheist, which, you know, I don't like atheists at all. That's the devil, atheism, in my opinion. But anyway, he's talking like MAGA. He's talking like Trump about illegal immigration. And it was a very shocking statement to be made from this liberal, atheist Labour Party Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. That same day, his house catches on fire. And I'm watching the media. They're reporting this, and then they're reporting the house fire, but they're not connecting the two. Now, it wasn't 10 Downing. It was his private home. Obviously, some illegal in the UK set the Prime Minister's house on fire. Why won't anybody even suggest this as a possibility in this woke fake news media? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Richard.
All right. What's up?
Yeah, I just wanted to comment on the airplane deal.
Yes.
Getting a gift.
The gift, yes.
Yeah. Nobody's mentioning how we left all this equipment, planes, tanks, and all that other stuff for the enemy. But yet they're mad about a gift. It makes no sense at all.
Well, you know, the gift of the plane, has it occurred to anyone? President Trump's in the Middle East. He's making big moves involving Gaza and everything else. Has it occurred to anyone that accepting this $1 billion airplane from Qatar, who's very well connected in that world, is a great way to open up a relationship with people that can get the Ayatollahs on the phone, as an example, or the Hamas leaders on the phone?
And it's also a good way to keep the money away from the terrorists.
Exactly. It's a $1 billion plane, at least. I mean, you know, I appreciate the call. If someone is going to give you something valued at $1 billion, you'd have to be out of your mind to turn it down. Now, they're not giving it to him. They're giving it to the United States government. President Trump's going to make sure the Air Force gets it. Why would you turn down a gift of $1 billion? Now, I'll tell you this. If this was a personal gift to a member of the Trump family, okay, you know, like Don Jr. or Eric, then I'd say, no, Eric should not take the plane. But this is a gift to the United States. I see no reason why not to do this. You know, the liberals didn't seem to mind when the Chinese gave a diamond to Hunter. That seemed, you know, that was fine. Why was that okay? All right, now, Dr. Appleton and his laser wave pain treatment it's an absolutely amazing thing. He's rid me of pain 7 times. He's rid so many of you in this listening audience of your pain too. And, you know, his laser wave pain treatment, there's no drugs, no shots, no injections, no downtime, no surgery. And it works. It's 100% painless. You don't even feel it when he's doing it. It's a free consultation. Stop living in pain. Living in pain is not a part of growing old. You don't have to become a junkie on pain medications either. Go see Dr. Appleton. Take advantage of the free consultation. Appointments are not necessary. Walk-ins are always welcome, even on Saturdays with Dr. Appleton. And say bye-bye to your pain. Neck pain, tennis elbow, tinnitus, strains and sprains, sciatica, muscular contraction, hip pain, knee pain, arthritis, bursitis. The list goes on and on. It's amazing. He's changed my life. I often wonder, what would I be like if I never met Dr. Appleton 2.5 years ago? And all the times he's rid me of pain. I'd be a guy that was in a lot of pain. I'll tell you that. Living in pain is, and this time of year is the worst, because this is when, with all this rain, this is when I was really, like, I remember my knee. This is when my knee was really hurting. When we had these rainy hurricane seasons and it was raining all day, all night. I'm going to give you his number. Now, when you go in for that free consultation with Dr. Appleton, if you have x-rays or scans, bring them with you. Dr. Appleton will take a look at them. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonChiro.com. Do we have any recordeds here, Mike? Or yes or no? Okay. We'll stand by. We're a little off on our schedule. I'm all over the place on the breaks today. If you're on hold, hang in there. If you'd like to call in, please do. You're welcome to call in about anything we've discussed so far. Our number is toll-free, 1-888-465. I know that Al Knight, our weekend guy, just texted me and said $400 million is the plane. Any plane that once President Trump steps on that plane, it's worth $1 billion, okay? It becomes an artifact, okay? It's much different. And I'm not so sure that $400 million is accurate with all the upgrades that Qatar has done. And President Trump said yesterday it very well may be valued at $1 billion. But $400 million, $1 billion, to me, numbers that big, it's all the same. All right, our number is toll-free, 1-888-465-2631, 1-888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call, no matter where you are listening. Now, what are we doing? We're going to take a recorded break? Okay, we'll be right back.
Cold, hard truth. Delivered morning 6 to 9 right here on The Steve Kane Show.
When you need lab work, don't waste hours and hours waiting at the doctor's office or one of those big labs. Go to any lab test now of Boca and any lab test now of Coral Springs. Their prices are guaranteed to be the lowest you'll find anywhere. No appointment, doctor's order, or prescription is needed, and you're in and out in 15 minutes or less. They offer every lab and blood work your doctor could order. They even have drug testing and STD testing. Take control of your health care and visit any lab test now of Boca at any lab test.
Did he answer?
Springs. There's lots
Okay.
of lab test nows around, but these are the only two advertising on our radio station. So don't use the rest. Only go to any lab test now of Boca and any lab test now of Coral Springs. And make sure you tell them you heard about them on the radio.
We take on the social justice warriors for breakfast. Now the Steve Kane Show is on the air.
All right, we are back. It's the Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian Craig. This is Florida's longest running radio show. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. I'm from Florida.
Oh, hey, Tom.
Hey, on my way to work, so now it's $1 billion we're talking about here, huh?
Yes. Trump said 400 million, $1 billion, whatever.
All right, well, standard, whatever. Brian, imagine Joe Biden took a plane from Qatar. Now, Qatar has ties to terrorist organizations. You know who said that?
Uh-huh.
So now he's taking a plane from them, and
Brian, I really, really hope that he's not considering on keeping this, because if he keeps it, he is aligned with everything that every liberal or Democrat, whatever umbrella we want to put people under, okay, which you do, and you will basically be a hypocrite because the man is basically taking what he can.
Okay. First, this is, okay, hold on. Now, do you know where the president is right now as we speak?
He's in Saudi Arabia, I believe.
That's correct. Saudi Arabia. You remember 9/11. You're old enough to remember 9/11.
I was there 9/11, Brian.
Where?
Yeah.
Where were you? You were in New Jersey?
In North Jersey, from Montclair, I could see the buildings from where I was.
Okay. All right. I wonder how many times a day you tell people you could see that. How many times you tell people that?
Really, I don't really tell.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I know. I could tell. Yeah, I know. You've never told that story. Okay. So on 9/11, what I'm a schmuck. Why am I a schmuck?
Because you bring up 9/11 and I tell you where I was, and then you make it criticize it. Go ahead, Brian.
Well, no, first off, you said I was there. Jersey was not attacked. Okay, so you were not there.
Guess what? No.
You might as well been watching it on TV. I mean, what you're doing is stolen valor. I'm getting to that, but what you're doing is stolen valor. I said, you remember 9/11? You said I was there, and now you're in New Jersey. I mean,
but Brian, you know, in New York City,
you weren't there. You weren't there. No, you're stolen. You were in New Jersey. Stolen valor. Stolen valor. Stolen valor.
Brian, can you get to your point on what you were talking?
Yes, I know. This is probably a whole big part of your personality is that you were in Jersey on 9/11.
First time you've ever even heard me say that. So what are you talking?
Yeah, I know. I know. The first time you pulled the stolen valor. Okay, here's the thing, Tom. Okay, so since you were there. There were 19 hijackers on 9/11 that we know of. Bush let some of them go away when he grounded all the planes. But 19 of the known hijackers were there. Of the 19, how many were from Saudi Arabia?
Honestly, Brian, with all my stealing all the valor and everything, I didn't really take in consideration all their.
Okay, so if I remember, well, since you were there on the front lines of 9/11. During the attacks on America, I believe it was 17 of the 19 hijackers were from Saudi Arabia. 17 of the 19. So is it inappropriate for President Trump to be in Saudi Arabia where 17 of the 19 hijackers were from? Stolen valor, Tom?
Let's see here. I don't think so, because when it comes to presidents, they should, not be playing golf
No, you're not talking about golf. You have no answer. You're telling us that Qatar. You're telling us. Okay, now there's also another thing he's doing. He's working some deals out with Japan. The Japanese killed not as many people as the hijackers did on 9/11, but they killed almost 3,000 Americans at Pearl Harbor. Would it be inappropriate? Were you there? Were you there too? Well, hey,
Brian, if you could do math, and I'm not saying but that MAGA tie is definitely on.
Yeah, were you there? Okay, so you weren't at Pearl Harbor, but you were there at ground zero.
I was born in Jersey.
Yeah. Okay. So would it be inappropriate for him to do business with the Japanese since they bombed Pearl Harbor, killed nearly 3,000 Americans?
Well, since then we've been doing numerous things with Japan, so that would be a stupid statement to make. Okay.
Okay. So right now, President Trump is in Saudi Arabia, and what he's doing is trying to make relations with the Muslim world a little bit better than they are these days. Accepting a gift from Qatar that is in that region, don't you think that would help him be able to negotiate better deals and more peace and stop the killing and everything in the Middle East?
Absolutely. But you know what, Brian? If I thought that this plane was going to stay in the military and be upgraded and everything, check for all microphones and recorded devices, absolutely.
Yeah.
This man had the arrogance, Brian, to take that plane and put it in his life.
All right, now I got another final question. Since you were there on 9/11, when you saw America under attack, you know, Mayor Giuliani went to Ground Zero and took charge. When you watched America under attack, being on the front lines in Jersey, what did you do?
What did I do? Okay, let's see. Besides...
Other than watch, what did you do?
Watch. Well, there was a couple things that we did.
An outreach. No. During the attack, when you said you were there during the attack. So when you watched America get attacked, other than watch, what did you do, Tom? What did you do?
At the moment, let's see, I'll be very honest. I didn't know.
Nothing.
No, because hold on, Brian, you are talking over me, right? I am saying this. I have done many things for 9/11 responders, and I've done that stuff throughout my life.
Really?
Donald Trump done that. Wait a minute, didn't Donald Trump cut off 9/11 funds?
No. We're talking about you. So this is interesting. So this whole part of your identity that you were there on 9/11, you watched America get attacked, and you just stood there and did nothing. You just stood there and did nothing, right? You should be so lucky. Don't worry, I got a break in a second. You'll be okay in a second. So what your answer is, when the firefighters went into the building as people were running out. The police went into the buildings that people were running out of. You watched and did nothing. Okay.
You know that, Brian, you are so far up this man's rear, it is impossible for you to hear anything except his...
So, okay, all right. Oh, boy. Let's talk about coastal weight loss secret. Oh, man. You know, I was talking a lot about how I've had to put holes in my belt. You know, I wasn't wearing a belt the last couple of years, and I realized the other day why. Before I lost all this weight, thanks to coastal weight loss secret, I didn't need to wear a belt. My waist just held my pants up. I didn't realize. That's why I stopped wearing belts. I didn't realize that. It's amazing. And, you know, my belt is almost going to the, it's like just reaching the loop on my hip. That's how, you know, and before this belt was pretty tight. I haven't measured. I don't know how many inches I've lost on my waist, but I've lost a lot of weight. And I was talking earlier, I've cut my caffeine consumption by half. And I know that's because I've lost all this weight. You know, when you lose weight, you have more energy. You feel better. And I don't need as much caffeine to wake up in the morning. I have cut my caffeine intake by 50%. And I know it's because of all the weight that I lost. And I was very nervous about doing this, okay, because I'd never been on any type of weight loss program or anything in my life. And what I was afraid of is I wouldn't be able to do it, right? And then you guys would know. But I did it, and it's easy, because with Coastal Weight Loss Secret, there's, you know, you don't have to exercise. Now, if I did exercise, I probably would have lost weight faster, but I was losing about a pound a day. That sounds pretty fast to me. I'm eating foods I would normally eat, and I'm not taking any prescription medications like Ozempic. It works. Now, I lost about a pound a day. In the first 3 weeks, I lost 20 pounds. No pills, no injections, no surgery, no workouts. And another cool thing is I never feel hungry. And that's really an amazing part of it. I never feel hungry. I used to be hungry all the time in the mornings. How many times do you hear me say I'm starving? Oh, we can't run restaurant commercials to the end of the show because they make me hungry if you run them early in the show. I remember I mentioned that to Steve. Not anymore. I'm not even hungry. And I feel great, and I've lost so much weight. And those of you out there in this listening audience that have been telling me, you can tell, but by watching some of my old videos online from just a few short months ago, you can see all the weight I've lost in my face and in my neck. It is amazing. Give Coastal Weight Loss Secret a call. I'm going to give you the number right now. When you call, make sure you tell them you heard about them on the True Oldies channel. 561-247-6300. 561-247-6300, and online, coastalweightlossecret.com. All right, if you're on hold, hang in there. We have less than a minute left till the top of the hour. That's not enough time to put a caller on. So we will go to the phones after the top of the hour break. You know, that thing with Tom, you know, a lot of people up in that area have these 9/11 stories like they did something, you know. I mean, he watched from another state, and he goes around telling people that story, I promise you, throughout the last over 20 years since it happened. And I don't think it ever occurred to him that he watched and did nothing, and he was there. All right, callers on hold, stand by. You're listening to Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. That's right, celebrating 48 years on the radio. Our toll-free number to call in is 1-888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. We'll be back right after this break. Mike, Barry texted me. He said, run the recorded.
Oh, stop. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's a few commercials there with it, so I'll play with the commercials.
Okay.
That's when I cleared the spot for...
yeah, I'm going to be in hot water with Steve. But...
no, he's probably not.
Oh, yeah, he's not going to. I told him, so I'm just going to find out. Hey, sorry, I didn't get the text. All right, you ready? All right, have you been listening? Yeah, I don't either. Okay, hold on.
The crash reported beyond Road, and there's an accident.
Stolen Valor Tom, that'll be his name. Oh my gosh.
Spot something on the roads, call the traffic tip line. Pound 250, keyword West Palm traffic. I'm Ron Hersey. Traffic, a service of the Palm Beach Kennel Club. PBKC is your entertainment destination.
I'll send the live. Well, it's only one live reach, just close to weight loss.
This Saturday, come out and watch.
You can almost say that for the end, because we'll include that at the... If he doesn't come in, I'll do it live at the end.
Perfect place to catch all the OTB and sports action with over 140 HD TVs, delicious food, full bar, and friendly service. For more info, go to pbkennelclub.com.
Attention, true oldies listeners. By popular demand, Sloman's is bringing back their unbeatable offer. How would you like to spring into the season with a free doorbell camera? Yes, you heard that right. You get a doorbell camera, and you get a doorbell camera. Everybody gets a doorbell camera. That's right. The first 40 callers who dial 1-833-283-5050 can unlock this limited time offer, featuring a free doorbell camera that connects directly to your smartphone, complete with professional installation of your Sloman Shield. But wait, there's more. When you activate our low-cost central station monitoring, you'll also receive a free customized home security system, along with professional installation. Your new security system includes a high-tech LED touchscreen, a motion detector, 10 contacts, a lifetime warranty, and a backup battery. Don't miss out. Be one of the first 40 True Oldies listeners to call 1-833-283-5050 to claim your free doorbell camera with Sloman Shield installation. That's 1-833-283-5050. Call now.
Hello, this is Mike at Friendly Tire. I've been in business 30 years at the same location and offering great deals on new and used tires.
30 break, so we can
Say that again?
I moved 2 spots to 8:30 break, so it's like 3 minutes instead of that.
Okay.
Minute, because if I put Seagull in that break where it is and those spots, it's gonna be like.
Yeah, I know it's a mess.
So I did like the best I can.
I appreciate it. Believe me, I'm going to hear from
you.
Yeah. Gotta do what you gotta do.
On the air since 1977, it's the Steve Kane Show.
All right, the third hour has begun. I'm Brian Craig. Steve Kane joining. Hey, Steve. Oh my goodness, Steve! Today's just been a crazy, strange day. The
was flying blind into Newark Airport.
Yeah.
Can't quite
Stolen Valor, Tom. Well, we got a lot of people that have been hanging on. Let's take some calls before, and then I'll do some recapping and stuff, because lots is going on. But you want to take some calls first? All right. Oh, this person, they're trying to block their number, so maybe that'll be interesting or not. We'll find out. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Jay from Jersey.
Oh, hey, Jay. Were you by Tom on 9/11 watching the people die and doing nothing too, like Tom, Stolen Valor Tom? Yes.
Heard that y'all were talking about the airplane.
What do you mean? Hold on a second. You heard we were talking about it, or you heard us talking about it?
And the reason I called is because I wanted to see if I could actually get this out, or you're just going to keep acting like a clown. Okay? Now, he's going to get present. He's going to get a present or a bribe, whichever way you want to put it.
Yeah.
And let me finish, of an airplane that has many things in it. Many things in it. And he's going to start using it. And he's getting it from Saudi Arabia. And I heard...
No, it's Qatar. It's Qatar.
And you said 17...
Yes, exactly.
You said 17 of the hijackers were Saudi Arabia.
What was it, 16? I might be wrong on the number.
I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, of course you don't know.
You heard maybe it was last year, that I don't remember what country, but we all remember when it happened, that this one country sent a signal to to all the pagers and all the things, and they blew up in the people's hands. That was surprising to me, because I didn't know you could do that. And the people that had those pagers and things for years, but they sent one signal, and all of them blew up in thousands of people's face at one time.
Yeah, it was Israel blew up terrorist. Yes.
Whatever it was, didn't know they had that technology.
Yes, they do.
But this fool is going to take an airplane from Qatar and drive around up in the sky in it.
You fly airplanes. You don't drive them.
He's going to fly around up in the sky in it. Do you think that makes good sense?
Well, I'm amazed, and I'm so glad that you and many other liberals are concerned for the president's safety all of a sudden.
Oh, because
yeah. Okay. All right. On that note, just.
Because I must confess to you, that was my very first reaction.
Steve, listen. President Trump's not going to fly in the plane. He won't be allowed to as president. You know, for the president to fly in an aircraft, it has to be a military aircraft that has the ability to to evade fighter and rocket attack and missile attacks. It has to be able to withstand nuclear attack. It has to be able to maneuver in certain ways to avoid fighter jets. It has to have countermeasures, a communication center. President Trump is not going to fly on the Qatar plane. He's going to take it as a gift to the military, and that'll be. Presidents get gifts all the time. They're not personal gifts. They're not allowed to accept gifts. So it's not a gift to him. But you hear the level of the liberals are having meltdowns today, Steve. I've been dealing with this all morning. You heard that last caller? He's so confused. He's concerned for Trump's safety all of a sudden. That's how concerned that's how confused the Never Trumpers are. All right, let's take another one. Let's see if we'll have a non-meltdown liberal. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, hey, Brian, good morning.
Mm-hmm. Good morning.
Hello?
Yes, good morning.
Brian. Yeah, so I wanted to actually speak on the Qatar plane. My bad. It's Jerry from Arizona, but I wanted to speak on the Qatar plane.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I know everybody is concerned about the safety risk, but like you just said, you know, he's not going to be up on it.
No.
There's another point that we need to actually make right here is Boeing was supposed to be making this plane, but they did not meet their deadline. They are supposed to be the leader as in making made in America.
Well, the plane from Qatar is a Boeing 747.
There's a point buried here.
Yes.
Point you're making.
So the point that I'm making is, like, there are American people who are willing to actually get in here and do this work. You feel me? And if Boeing is not stepping up, I don't know, what I'm trying to say is that, like, we got American people that are willing to actually do the job and be able to get the deadline. Boeing open up the jobs for us because we.
Okay, here's the thing with Boeing. Okay, the plane was supposed to be delivered by October. Now they're saying it'll be in 2027. Boeing has no intention on delivering the new Air Force One to President Trump. They're pissed off at him. If you remember, President Trump in his first term approved the new Air Force One, and he got them down a lot on the price. Remember, he was fighting with them on the price. Boeing is delaying the aircraft because they're so angry at President Trump. They don't want him flying on it as president. They're never going to deliver him the plane. He recently took a tour of one of the Boeing planes with Elon, and they had every excuse in the book. Elon Musk is working with Boeing to try to speed things up, but they're slow walking it. You know what I mean? So he's taking this plane from Qatar for a couple of reasons. He's never going to fly on it. It will not be secure enough for a sitting president to fly on, okay? He's taking it to stick it. It is a Boeing 747, but he's going to take it and paint it like he's going to paint the new Air Force One. Remember, he's going to paint it red, white, and blue with the stars and stripes on it, as opposed to the current paint job. And he's doing it to embarrass. He's doing it to embarrass them, to embarrass Boeing for not living up to their contract and delivering the plane. That's part of it too. It's a scandal where there is none. There's no scandal with this plane. It's a gift to the United States government, not to Trump. He will not own the plane. If they were giving the plane to Jared or Ivanka or Don Jr. or Eric or Kai or so, then you would then you could say, okay, why are they giving a plane to Eric Trump? Then you could say, okay, but this is a gift to the yes, it's a gift to the Air Force. And I want to point out, a caller called up in the first hour, France gave a gift that's worth more than the plane. And nobody ever is, remember what France gave us? The Statue of Liberty. The Statue of Liberty is, I've never heard anyone talk about people taking bribes when they gave us the Statue of Liberty.
Give all the attention it deserves, probably more than it deserves.
I was talking about everything but people are calling in like crazy about it. I don't know. It's just what's happened. All right, appreciate the call. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello?
Yes, you're on the air.
Oh, hey, Brother Brian. Good morning. Hey, Uncle Steve. Wow. They got nothing. Democrats, they got nothing, okay?
Yes.
They're afraid beating around the bush. They're absolutely, the backs are absolutely against the wall. And to be on, you played the clip I saw yesterday with I think it was MSNBC, and I saw that yesterday. I wanted to reach through the screen and slap all three of them.
Well, we don't want to. We don't want to hurt people. All right, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Oh, it's me again. I'm Lisa.
Hey, Lisa,
What
what's
do you
up?
think Daddy Elon's going to do for Trump?
I'm not familiar with who's Daddy Elon.
Oh, you don't know about Elon Musk?
I know Elon Musk, but I mean I know he has a lot of children. So I don't know what you're referencing.
Big Daddy.
Yeah.
African. You have
This is the left side. What is there to say? Elon Musk, who I watched launch another.
about him being African.
He's an American. He's a naturalized U.S. citizen from South Africa.
Why did you say African?
Well, he is an African. He's an African American, being originally from Africa and now an American. Elon Musk is an African American.
Huh.
Are you high?
So much today.
Well, you should tune in more often. Are you high? Are you high?
Are you high?
No. No. Should I take that as an admission?
Wants to be?
No. What are you high on? Weed? What are you taking? Weed? What do you smoke weed? What are you high on?
What am I supposed to be high on?
I don't know. There's a lot of drugs. Okay, so you smoke weed. Okay.
A lot of drugs, yeah.
Oh my goodness. And you're calling from California. So it's 5:15 in the morning and you're high? Already?
I never said that I was high.
Are you high?
No.
Yeah?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Oh, okay. You're so incoherent. You're babbling nonsense. I just assumed that you were on drugs.
Babbling nonsense?
Yes.
I don't sound coherent to you.
No, you've made no point whatsoever. What's your problem with Elon Musk? What is your problem with Elon Musk? Since you mentioned Elon, make an articulate case.
Pop stars. Why are we sending pop stars to space?
Why are we sending rockets to space? Because Elon Musk is...
Perry.
We did not send Katy Perry to space. Amazon did. Oh, my goodness. No one could convince me, Steve, that woman's not. Do you think she's high?
I think she's on the air.
You could say that about everybody that's called today. You know, this has been... Steve, let me tell you, okay, we got to take a break. After the break, I'll tell you something that happened to me this morning. Okay, I'm going to put you on hold. All right, if you're on hold, stand by. We'll be right back.
Don't sit on the sidelines. Get in on the action. Call the Steve Kane Show live on air now. 888-GO-KANE-1. This is the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
Brian Craig here. When it comes time to get my blood work done,
I don't have time to spend hours in the doctor's office or waiting hours in one of those big labs. That's why I go to any lab test now of Boca and any lab test now of Coral Springs for all of my lab work. Their techs are highly skilled and professional, and their prices are guaranteed to be the lowest on lab work you'll find anywhere. Appointments aren't necessary. Doctor's orders and prescriptions, they're not needed either. I'm in and out in 15 minutes or less. I get the results the next day in my email box, and they also send it to my doctor. There's lots of any lab test nows around, but these are the only two advertising on our radio station. So don't use the rest. Only go to any lab test now of Boca and any lab test now of Coral Springs. Any lab test now of Boca is in the Sandalfoot Plaza. That's where the Western Beef is, between Palmetto Park Road and Hillsborough Boulevard on the east side of State Road 7 or 41. Any lab test now of Coral Springs is on the southeast corner of University and Ramblewood by the Coral Square Mall. Call any lab test now of Boca at 561-237-5009. Any lab test now of Coral Springs number is 954-906-5983. And don't forget to mention that you heard about them on the radio.
We're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Linda Boeing, I just received my 7th and 8th set of Mike Lindell sheets. This time we got flannel ones, which we had never had. I got one for my husband for Christmas. He loves it. Oh my God. And especially with the cold days and nights we've been having the last few months in Florida. I got 2 more. I send them to my friends for Christmas now, and they just love them. Absolutely love them.
Yeah, I have the flannels too. You're like Goldilocks. They keep you the same temperature all night long.
Yes. So, perfect. But the guy just has a great product.
The thing with Mike Lindell's sheets, all of them, the fitted sheet at the bottom fits perfectly on the mattress. Every other sheet, you can't get the 4 corners on. And it's almost impossible. Even after having them for years and washing them, I don't know how many times, they still fit perfectly.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
You're probably going to be on the next My Pillow commercial, just so you know, okay? Because
okay.
Okay, just to let you know.
You heard Lynn from Boynton. She loves her My Pillow sheets. Order yours right now at a huge discount. Use our promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, at checkout at mypillow.com.
All right, Attorney Barry Siegel from the Siegel Law Group is on the line. Good morning, Attorney Barry Siegel.
Good morning. How are you today?
I'm doing well. What do you have for us this morning, Barry?
All right, nice. It's been such an honor to be, affiliated, working with you and Steve for so many years. I don't even know.
Did you hear that noise? That was the doorbell camera from Sloman's.
Calling in as a sponsor on your show. But one of the things I was thinking about is through all these years, all the people who've come in, and I'm just talking about the Medicaid right now, not even the estate planning, but just on the Medicaid. I mean, with the Medicaid planning, we're helping people avoid the cost of long-term care. And if we were to add up the amount of money that people have saved, all these families over the years, we have to be talking about millions and millions and millions of dollars that people have saved, not spending down assets, going to the nursing home, and instead they've been able to protect those assets so that those assets can be used for the care of the person, whether it's upgrading to private rooms, if they're in a nursing home, having private duty aides, but just having that peace of mind that they have the assets and not spend down. And we talked many times about what happened to my grandmother, where she had to spend down her assets, and we didn't know about Medicaid planning. So, we're very proud that we've been able to protect so much in assets families over the years.
That's right, and the Siegel Law Group, no matter where you're located in the state of Florida, the Siegel Law Group can help. And if you mention you heard Attorney Barry Siegel on the radio, it is a free consultation with the Siegel Law Group. You can find them online at SiegelLawGroup.com or give them a call toll free 855-FLA-3782, 855-FLA-3782. And the Siegel Law Group have offices from Dade County all the way up to North Palm Beach as well. But you can also meet with them over video calls, Zoom, etc., etc. Again, toll free 855-FLA-3782. All right, Attorney Barry Siegel, we'll talk later in the week.
All right, I look forward to it. Thank you, Brian.
Now back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig. Listen in the Palm Beaches on 95.9 FM, the Treasure Coast on 106.9 FM, hear us in Boca on 95.3 FM, Fort Lauderdale on 96.9 FM.
Alrighty, we're back. I'm Brian. Steve Kane is here. Steve, so the Trump derangement is really peaking right now. I hope it's peaking because this is so let me. I got to tell you what happened to me this morning on the way to the radio station. This was totally insane. Every day before I go to the show, get on the air, I go to Starbucks, right, and get my coffee. I get 4 shots of espresso in my coffee every morning. And the people that work at Starbucks are historically liberal lunatics, right? They very liberal. So I always leave my Trump hat in the car when I go into Starbucks. But today I went to a different Starbucks I don't go to down the street from the radio station, and I'm wearing a MAGA hat that is the most triggering MAGA hat I've ever worn. It says Trump 2028 on it. And I've had this hat about 2 weeks, and anywhere I wear it, it gets a lot of attention. The liberals don't like it. Trump 2028. It doesn't say Make America Great Again, just Trump 2020. So I walk into the Starbucks, and there's these 2 baristas working in there. One looks like she's a millennial. The other one looks like she's Gen Z. And I'd forgotten that I still had my Trump 2028 hat on. I usually would take it off, put it on the seat, and go in. And the reason I do that is I don't want them to monkey around with my coffee. And so anyway, when I went in and I saw the look on their faces, I realized immediately I left the hat on that said Trump 2028. Steve, they looked at me. They literally looked like they went number 2 in their pants, both of them. They were in such shock. I ordered my coffee, venti hot blonde Americano with extra cream. She had to have me repeat my order 3 times. She was so nervous. She gives me the coffee. It's ice cold, and she gave me the wrong coffee order. It was just, and I don't think she did it to mess with me. I think she was literally scared when she saw the MAGA. She was so terrified. If you saw the look on their faces, Steve, you would think I walked in there with a gun and was robbing the place, like I was sticking it up. She was that scared. She was too nervous to make the coffee. So I went to another Starbucks down the street and took the hat off. The liberals, things are going so well in this country, and wokeism is dead. The liberals are just having breakdowns coast to coast. And I thought that was kind of an isolated incident because it was Starbucks. And then I go to the phones here on the show. And you've heard the callers this morning. These liberals have all lost their minds. That lady we just...
A devastating day if you're...
Why?
Before it began, it was over for the liberals, and then after that litany, that laundry list of great accomplishments came rolling out. Those announcements by Trump. It's just obvious these people they're just so far out of the ball game, they're never going to get back in. I'm amazed if they can even field a case.
Well, President Trump did yesterday what Democrats have been calling to be done forever, and that's rein in the pharmaceuticals on the drug prices. The liberals have been talking about that for 40 years, and he did it. They should be applauding him.
Well, he's got him between the devil and the deep.
All right, well, let's see if we've got some people that aren't having meltdowns. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Brian from Deerfield.
Hey, Brian.
Hey, Brian. Hi, Steve. How are you today?
Nice to hear coherence.
You know, basically, you'd have to say that the liberals got nuked yesterday. That press conference in the morning was from the Oval Office was absolutely spectacular. Trump was on board with everything. He could back up everything he said, every one of his positions. They had nothing to say. And I saw him school ABC, which was very nice. I want to make a comment on Boeing. Boeing, one of our great manufacturers in this country. However, in like recent years, their airplane manufacturing and the space program, I think the Blue Origin, Bezos company, they seem to be having a lot of problems. I saw an interview with two of the astronauts. They said they had trouble docking with the space station because some of the rockets had to slow down the capsule. And also they were worried they'd even be able to get back. And the male guy was the astronaut said that they shouldn't even be in the business of
the stranded astronauts. The stranded astronauts were on the Boeing spaceship, not Elon Musk. They were on the Boeing spaceship, and their planes have been falling out of the sky too on occasion.
Yes, yeah. I'm not sure what's going on there. Quality control or
woke. It's called woke.
It was somebody from another, I think it was from India. They're doing an interview, and they really said, no, what? They always have the happy faces on when they were on the station and that. They said, no, we had a lot of problems with this, to the point where the guy who was the main pilot said we might not have been able to get back down to Earth with the problems with some of the rockets on board the capsule that went up. If it wasn't for SpaceX, I don't know if they'd still be on the main ship there. You know, so
and I talked about Elon Musk that was the first rescue in space that ever happened when he rescued those Boeing astronauts with SpaceX on the space station. That was the first rescue in the history of space flight. Apollo 13, there was no rescue; they got themselves back. And that is, but he doesn't get credit for that history-making moment of the manned space program.
People forget he should be a national hero for rescuing two of our astronauts. And instead they're attacking his Tesla franchises. I mean, this guy is one of the greatest assets this country has. And, the way he was treated, and not to mention the Dove program that he's a champion of.
Doge.
Such a tremendous asset, and we are so lucky to have, and look how people on the left turn against him.
Mm-hmm. All right, appreciate the call. All right, good points. You're on the. I really don't even know how to talk to a normal person after what I've been dealing with today. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Never Trumper Steve here in Palm City.
Hey, Never Trumper Steve.
All right.
Stephen, how are you?
Good morning, Steve. Steve, I wanted to ask you a question. Now, you didn't have to put your hand on the Bible and swear to protect and defend the Constitution. But I assume you're a solid American and believe in the Constitution. I know Brian has had some problems with that of late. But do you agree that we have to abide by the Constitution?
Oh, my goodness. He's trying to walk you down the garden path, Steve.
I understand that. It depends what you mean by abide by the Constitution.
Well, whatever it says in the Constitution, should we abide by what's in there?
You asked me a question, and you're talking over me, so I can't answer. So let me give you the courtesy of an answer. What do you think the Supreme Court is about? Why do we have a Supreme Court?
I agree with you with what I think you're saying, that they decide if the laws are being...
Why do we have a Supreme Court?
Well, answer your own question. Why do we?
He doesn't know.
Just say, Steve, I don't know. Tell me.
They decide if the laws, as it pertains in the Constitution, is being abided by. That's why they're there.
Exactly right. Okay, so in other words, the bottom line of that is that the Constitution is subject to interpretation And that's why we have a Supreme Court to determine what it means in the bottom line. You know,
Correct.
Okay, so that
here's the point I'm driving at, if you let me get it in, that under the emoluments clause in the Constitution, no government official can accept a gift or other benefits from foreign governments without the consent of Congress. No one's gone to Congress. Now, if it was true that that plane is going to the Department of Defense, I have no problem with it. But then Trump, who swore on the Bible to defend the Constitution, says, but I'm taking it with me to a library that hasn't even been built yet.
So what is the answer? What is the answer?
The answer is, if this wasn't the grift of the century, he would leave it for the next president to use.
What is not legal? The Supreme Court will do its job, and then we'll know.
All right, but wait, but it doesn't even get to the Supreme Court when he says, I'm taking it with me. Why isn't he leaving it for the next president? Answer me that.
I know, you'd have to ask him.
He's never going to fly on that plane, Steve. It's never going to be that and never Trumpers. It's.
Is that he's asking an abstract question to which he knows the answer?
Oh, I thought he was just regurgitating what Jen Psaki said on MSNBC last night, and without thought. Yeah.
Here's what Laura Loomer has said about this plane. This is really going to be a stain on this administration if this is true. I am so disappointed.
Oh, this is interesting. So, okay, finish up.
And you love Laura Loomer. I mean, you agree with everything she said.
No.
That's what you said to me about 2 weeks ago.
No, I said that when she reports news, her facts are always 100% accurate. I don't agree with her opinions. Always.
Yesterday. This is news.
This is her opinion. She's giving her opinion.
And other Senate Republicans as well. He is doing the grift of the century by taking it with him. If it was going to stay with the Department of Defense, now when you say he's never going to use it, who believes that? Now
the presidents cannot fly on a plane that is, Air Force One is almost like a fighter jet. This plane is, like people that have big cars, we call them boats. This plane, it does not have the ability to fly like Air Force One. It doesn't have the countermeasures, the communication centers, the maneuverability. It's symbolic. It's not really a plane he's going to fly in. But listen, I got a break, Never Trumper Steve. But it's interesting that you think Laura Loomer is a voice of credibility now. I'll remember that. Next, she also said that they were eating the cats, right? So in Springfield. All right, Steve, I'm going to put you on hold. We're going to come back. Joe Thomas is going to be stopping by, and we'll be back.
Making morning radio great again. You're gonna really love it. It's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
Hey, it's Scott on the radio.
Oh my goodness.
Back on the air right after 10 a.m. this morning on the True Oldies.
What's up, man?
Hey, what's going on? How you been?
You gotta watch Getting Your Coffee with that hat on.
Oh my gosh, you should have seen them. The girl shit herself when she saw the hat.
Really?
She was terrified.
Are you kidding me?
Oh my gosh. I was telling Steve, you would have thought I was sticking the place up.
And you just left?
No, I ordered coffee and she was shaking and she gave it to me. It was cold and I had to go to get my coffee somewhere else.
Holy mackerel.
Yeah. I wasn't going to drink what she gave me.
That's what I'm saying.
No.
You better be careful.
I'm Zach.
Yeah, we got to win
And
all the way
now,
around.
a True Oldies traffic check.
Oh my goodness.
Brought to you by the Palm Beach Kennel Club.
On the Turnpike northbound, there's a collision at the exit to Lakeworth Road, Belvedere Road, at Country Club Road. There's an accident. Spot something on the roads?
No, not much. Not much. I was going to ask you, because I mentioned a couple times about this, one of the annuity options you gave me, unless you had something else you want me to...
No, I was just going to talk about, CD rates of...
Okay.
High yield savings aren't still high.
Okay. We can do all that.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Kentucky and California. Paddock is the perfect place to catch all the OTB and sports action with over
So you're coming in next week, too. They told me coming in then...
I'm going to do weekly, once a week. I think it'll be good. You don't mind?
No.
Good.
Join us for Moments
I kind of like
of
the live
Scripture,
thing.
hosted by Jan
Yeah,
Coleman every
it's
Sunday
better.
morning
I
from
kind of wish
6
we
to
could go on with the
6:30
old
a.m.
for
We will
hours.
read
Not
the
talking
Bible,
about everything.
Well, we can do that one day if you want. We can set something up.
Moments of Scripture every Sunday
Monday at 6 a.m.
You can come in at 8 one day and we can talk about regular stuff.
I did
That'd be really
until I
cool.
went to Lighthouse Medical Center.
Yeah,
in
mention it to
Pompano.
Vic and they'll set it up.
Pain, burning, tingling in my hands and feet, muscle weakness, loss of balance, muscle twitching
Who's this Laura
have
Luna
all
you were
but
talking
disappeared.
She worked. She's a conservative journalist. If you look her up, you'll see.
Yeah.
And she works for Trump, kind of secretly.
Oh, okay. And you worked with her before?
I'm just friends with her, just
Oh,
somebody I know.
okay.
Most people that are friends with me like that don't want to let anybody know that they know me. You know.
They don't want them to know or you to know.
Same dedication and discipline to our
Kind of
family
combination.
members.
Yeah.
We've been serving our community for nearly.
So if you think I'm kidding, I'm not. I'm not. I'm not.
I heard one of my clients do this. Brian Craig doesn't like Trump. He loves Trump.
Yes.
It was so funny.
Yes.
Condo associations.
People can quote you.
Parts are on
Oh my gosh.
I swear to God,
customer
they do.
satisfaction. I've personally implemented systems to ensure you receive the best in customer service and workmanship. Don't miss out on our limited time offer for a free roof inspection. Call us now at 954-604-4602 or visit us at
Yeah, but you set that up. We'll just talk about normal stuff. We don't have to talk
Yeah,
about
real cool.
business.
Yeah, we don't have to do it for whatever time you want.
Yeah.
604-4602.
Now back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig, celebrating 48 years on the air.
All right, we're back, and Jupiter Joe Thomas is here. You know, I've been talking to you. Last time you were here, you gave me these flyers for 3 different types of annuities, options 1, 2, and 3. And I never knew there were different type of annuities till I met you. But when you gave these to me last time, because we're on the air, I didn't really look at them too closely because we're talking. I couldn't. And I looked at it after, and on option number 1, I saw something that just actually absolutely blew my mind. Now with annuities, we know your money's not at risk, right? There could be a Great Depression tomorrow. Your money's fine, and you have a guaranteed revenue stream for the rest of your life, which is pretty cool. But with most people that have financial problems that I've known of, or even with people that are retired and seniors, are when health issues come up,
Yes.
right? You know, no matter how great your insurance is, it doesn't cover that new shower you need to put in because you can't get in the regular shower anymore. Or I knew somebody that had to put new doors in their home to fit a wheelchair, or sometimes medications and things like this. And on this option 1 annuity, I was going to ask you about this. It says here, and this is from you, the annuity includes an income doubler from unexpected health events. What's that about?
So if you have a nursing home or home health care event, you can't perform 2 of your daily living activities, ADLs they're called, they will double your income. So if you're getting $1,000 a month, they'll double it to $2,000 a month. And this
Oh my goodness.
You don't have to be like, critically ill for this. You can have, people just have problems,
Really?
You can't walk, this, that. If you get a doctor's note and you can't perform 2 of those activities, they double your income for 5 years, Brian. The average stay in a nursing home is 3.
Yep.
Okay? This is 5 years, and then it goes back to the original amount when that money runs out. But you never run out of money. That's the key to this thing, ever.
Okay, so let me ask you, because I don't know. So I get this. This is kind of like what you get with the consultation, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I would imagine most people that are clients of yours are married.
Yes.
Okay, so the annuity is with the husband and the wife.
Correct.
So either one of them has this problem. They got
Correct.
it.
It's joint life. It's joint payment for life, and then if either one of them have an issue like this, it doubles their income for life.
Holy smokes! I mean, why didn't you tell us about this before?
The annuities do so many things, Brian, that what happens is, I was thinking about this on the way in, that's why I always talk to people. I get all their information, I say, this will fit your situation, this will solve your problem.
Well, this is the kind of thing that bankrupts people, or the health issues. And it's a lot of times, Attorney Barry Siegel, we talk about this with the Revocable Living Trust.
Right.
And, and he has ways to help you. But, there are so many unexpected expenses
Right.
When one of the spouses becomes ill or disabled and has health issues. So when you call Joe Thomas for the no-charge consultation, this is in the option 1 annuity. If you just remember that option 1, you'll know exactly what they're talking about.
And it's interesting, you don't have to be old to purchase this. I have people in their 40s and 50s that
Yep.
purchase this, and they look down the road saying, hey, in 20 years I'm going to be 60 or 65, and I can use this then as income. It's another stream of income. Just what's funny, I was thinking about this, we did a show about it, me and Jenny. To the penny, you know how much your Social Security is going to be, right? Ask anybody. Oh, my Social Security is $2,500.
Yep.
$2,700. Well, with an annuity, it's the same thing. You know it's a guaranteed income stream for the rest of your life, and that's why people like them. It's a pension plan you don't have anymore.
Yes, that's right, and it's safe, and your money's never at risk. Now, I want to tell you guys, Joe Thomas offers free phone consultations, which you can take advantage of no matter where you are in the United States. And I share this. Joe, gets embarrassed when I share this, but the reason I share this is I want people to understand the value of the free phone consultation. Okay. Joe Thomas, you've been in the retirement planning business well over 30 years, but this is the part that's amazing. You're a 5-time qualifying member of the $1 Million Roundtable, which is achieved by less than 1% of all financial advisors in the world. So not only are you getting a free phone consultation, you're getting a free phone consultation with the top man in the industry. And when you have this phone conversation with Joe Thomas, he'll talk to you, find out your situation, and he'll put together a custom proposal for you based on your situation, your goals, and everything else. And don't think that you don't have enough money for this. Don't and those of you that are wealthy, well, a lot of very wealthy people. This shocked me when you joined the show. People I know personally that are they're the Palm Beach people. They have annuities, which blew me away. And the reason they do it is because the wealthy don't ever want to risk their principal, right? Sure. That's right. They live it. Sure. Yep. So give Joe Thomas a call, 561-743-0999. 561-743-0999, and online, jupiterjoe.com. All right, Joe, we'll see you next week.
Yes, sir. Thank
All
you
right.
very much.
Okay. All right, Steve Kane back with us. The thing with the plane, I don't understand why we're even talking about that, Steve. I really don't. There's a couple of other things I wanted to bring up, though, unless you had something you wanted to do before we go back to the... okay. This thing with the prescription drugs that he did yesterday, that is so big, so huge. And I was talking earlier, because a lot of people don't remember, I was a kid, but the Steve Kane Show was on the air during this time. When Ronald Reagan was president, the Democrats, Mario Cuomo, the late Mario Cuomo, the original governor, Cuomo, all right? In that era of the Democrat Party, they were obsessed with breaking the pharmaceutical industry and bringing down the prescription drugs. And I was telling people they used to have, you might remember this, you might have gotten calls on this, but I remember seeing it like on television and stuff. They used to talk about senior citizens could not afford their medications, their prescriptions, because the pharmaceutical companies were ripping them off so much that senior citizens were forced to eat cat food just to afford their prescription medications. And I was talking, I remember episodes of television shows where they would highlight that. President Trump did with this what the liberals have been screaming at the top of their lungs for since Reagan was president to do. He did it. And what shocked me yesterday, in the news, after he did it, they weren't even talking about it, hardly, right? They were talking about this plane thing, and those Democrats at the ICE facility, which is like a week-old story almost, and they weren't even hardly talking about it. And I realized the pharmaceutical industry has so much control over the mainstream media through the advertising dollars, they were afraid to talk about it because of the pressure from the pharmaceutical industry. But when President Trump signed this yesterday, he said they're putting it in the big, beautiful bill, so it's going to become law. And he went through some of the prices of the drugs. He's not lowering drugs 80%. In many instances, it's 300 or 400%. He's lowering prescription medications because things are, so the average ones are 80%, but some of them are 300 or 400% that he lowered yesterday. And there was almost a media blackout on it. And, President Trump over the last 3 or 4 days has done more than most presidents do in 8 years, right? The prescription drugs, the China trade deal. He freed the last American hostage held by Hamas. I mean, these are huge.
Even notorious never-Trumpers that usually don't want to give Trump credit for Brett Baer, for example, abusive in his praise of Trump, which, and he's one of the real
Yeah. No, that's right. Yeah, you know, and it is so huge, okay? And you know, let me tell you, my wife's on a lot of medications. A lot of you know, my wife's got a pretty serious illness. She's on a lot of medications, and the cost of those medications is huge. I mean, huge. And just think about all the money that's going to be saved by Medicare and Medicaid. You know, liberals are always talking about Medicare and Medicaid being saved. That they're President Trump talked about this yesterday. The amount of money that is going to be saved by Medicare and Medicaid not having to pay these outrageous monies for prescriptions. Oh, yeah. In fact, now, do we let me ask Mike, do we have recorded spots in this break? Or we just, no, okay, just want to know. Okay. So you're right. And on top of all the other taxes like that are being cut in the big beautiful bill, you know what else is in there? I just saw this morning the Republicans released it. You'll be able to deduct the interest rates on your auto loans on American-made vehicles. And by the way, they make BMWs in America, so it'll count for those too. What a boom for the auto industry. You know, the things and President Trump was talking about this yesterday. The things that Trump is doing are nonpartisan, universally good things, right? No tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime, deducting the interest payments from your taxes on your auto loans. You know, and the other things we've been talking about, prescriptions and all these. These are universally good things that aren't political, really. And that's why they brought up this plain garbage, because they can't go out against the prescriptions, so they're trying to create the illusion of scandal where there is none. Let's check in with William Youngerman from the offices of William Youngerman Incorporated with the Morning Gold and Precious Metals Report. William Youngerman, how are the metals looking today?
Well, metals are a little bit up today after yesterday's big drop with huge gains in the stock markets and the concern over tariffs and the possible deal with China pushed the metals lower, and we saw at the end of the day gold down $86.60 after being down as much as $120 at one point, closing out the day at $3,236.70 the ounce. Silver was down 10 cents at $32.58. Platinum lost $21 at $9.78. And palladium was down $30 at $9.32. Overnight, we see gold trading in a range of $32.15 to $32.66. And right now, gold's at $32.46. That's up $9.30. Silver up 7 cents at $32.65 the ounce. Platinum gaining $4 at $9.82. And palladium down $5 at $9.27. So again, the market's pretty stable above that $3,200 number. Yesterday, we saw gold get down as low as $32.18 and then bounce off of that area and go all the way back up to $32.36. So that's pretty much where we're starting. We'll see how it goes forward as far as this bounce off of these lows from yesterday, and whether that buying opportunity is going to last very long or not.
Well, I don't know. I mean, gold over $3,200, well over $3,000. It's hard for me to use down when we're talking about it. You know what I mean? I mean, I hear some of these people. They're like, this is an incredibly beautiful time for the metals. And if you're new to the metals, this is the time, man. You're coming in at the right time. William Youngerman opens up at 10 a.m. You can stop in. His store is located on the first floor of the Bank of America building at 150 East Palmetto Park Road in Boca, just east of US 1 Federal Highway on the south side of Palmetto Park Road. Or you can call, and remember, he opens up at 10 a.m. Toll-free 1-800-327-5010, 1-800-327-5010, and find both his address and phone number online on his website, williamyoungerman.com. And if you have any summer vacations planned and you need some foreign currency, tell them about your currency exchange, William Youngerman.
Yeah, we deal in cash currencies of 60 different countries. So if you're going away, you can come in, call to make sure we have that particular country. But all the major countries we have in stock, and you can Save yourself some money by buying it ahead of time.
Yeah, and if you have any foreign currency left over from a trip or something, you can stop in and turn it into USD, or maybe buy some gold or silver with it as well. All right, William Youngman, we'll touch base tomorrow. All right, we're back. Okay, you want to go back to the phone, Steve? All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, gentlemen.
Hey, JJ.
You guys, to me, this plane story is just a complete distraction, because the largest, to me, the most important, the biggest story, eclipsing everything, is this favored nation with the drugs. But I'll say this about the plane before I talk briefly about the drugs.
Can you speak up just a little bit, please?
Sure, Steve. The plane thing to me is a distraction. It's a gift. It's official. It's in the open, disclosed, etc. You know, it's because of Trump, but it's 100% for the government. This is a non-issue, a distraction. This is not a this is not a diamond from Russia with love for Hunter, or 10% for the big guy. This has been disclosed.
Exactly.
I mean, for Christ's sake, we have a air base in Qatar, with the Brits. We have an air base there. We trade with them. You know, we refine, obviously oil, refined petroleum, fertilizer. We trade with Saudi Arabia. I mean, everybody needs to calm down about that. I mean, Captain Positive, what the hell's his name? Shapiro.
Ben Shapiro.
Yeah, Ben Shapiro. Listen, Richie, I love you, brother, but this is a non-story. The biggest thing on the planet that's happening right now is this most favored nation on the drugs. Most people don't have any clue what it really represents. I was going general yesterday with my, $100 in the U.S. and 50, 40, 30, 10, but it is, when you get into, and I'm assuming this, I did not hear this, but I'm assuming that the price metric for, say, medical devices and other medical products are at that same elevated, lower price. So I said yesterday, the NHE was $5 trillion, and that was for 2024. $5 trillion, that's the national health expenditure, forecasted to be $8 trillion in the early 2030s. You can now cut that number, that $8 trillion. You can cut these numbers now. That $8 trillion, no way that is the forecast anymore. I mean, that's scared the hell.
Well, the thing that he signed yesterday, with the prescription drugs, people call a lot of stories distractions. Most of the time when someone says a distraction, it's a story they're just not interested in. The plain story is a distraction to get that, because, if you're a Democrat, how can you argue against the reduction of the prescriptions? How can you argue against that? There's no argument against it.
Exactly right. This is the biggest thing. I mean, I'm just using the word thing. It's the biggest. It's huge. It is the largest economic news. This is going to. Trump.
Well, they're talking about lowering prices. What a savings to the American people that is, and it's going to trickle down into your insurance cost. I give you an example. A lot of when we get into open enrollment, which will be approaching in a few months for Medicare, I will advisors, the Klatzoff family, have been with us for 150 years on the Steve Kane Show. They join, we talk, think about the prescription drug supplement on top of your regular Medicare. The prices of those for many seniors are unaffordable, and they're going to drop dramatically because of the price of the drugs going down to reasonable levels. It is, and it's one of the big. This is lowering drug costs, prescription medication costs, is right from the Democrat Party platform, and he did it, and they're pissed about it. They really are.
You can look at the pharmaceuticals, at the drugs. What gasoline does to the rest of the economy, whether it's high, if it's really high, we get higher prices on everything. If it's lower, we should get eventually. It does come down slower because people, drag their feet on that. But if the drugs to the medical industry is sort of the gasoline. If you cut that from, say, $36,000 for cancer treatment to $3,600 for cancer treatment, you're going to cut. I mean, people realize the savings there.
And I'll give you another example. People that have a group policy through their employer, with a small company, one person's wife or kid gets sick.
Oh, is it?
and the prescription medication, causes everybody's insurance to go up. That's not going to happen anymore.
Well, hospitals, like I'm saying, the pharmaceuticals as the gasoline to the industry, what gas is to our general economy. Pharmaceuticals they are the gasoline to the medical, to all of it.
Mike,
so
Mike,
stays,
you want to move that?
All of that, it should all come down. All the costs, everywhere.
Sorry, I got my headphones up loud. I don't know if I yelled or not. I'm sorry.
Down, because that is the most. That's what they have really.
No doubt.
The most.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. Well, listen, I appreciate the call. Take care. Now, I want to talk about Coastal Weight Loss Secret, and today we've got in studio Dr. Zuckerman. Hey, Doc, what's up?
Hey, how's it going?
I got to tell you, I told people I've lost about 37 pounds, which is a lot for me, and my original goal was 25 pounds. And I remember when I first came in and met with you the first time at Coastal Weight Loss Secret, Dr. Zuckerman, I said, I got this cruise coming up. It's like in 6 weeks. I want to lose 25 pounds. You said, no problem. And I'm like, no, come on. Come on. And I was a little nervous about doing it because I'd never been on a diet or a weight loss program, and I was afraid I wouldn't be able to do it. And everybody would know I'd look like an idiot. And I had all these fears, and I thought I was gonna walk out of your office with a box full of food that tasted awful and was about the size of a $50, and that was going to be my lunch. And I thought I was going to have to go to the gym and work out all day, and none of these things were true, and the weight just melted off my body.
Yeah, it's all about developing new habits, teaching portion control. We definitely stress to people that we want you to enjoy life and eat foods that you enjoy.
Yeah.
So if we're trying to create a lifestyle that's sustainable, we need to do this the right way.
And I'll tell you guys where I eat. My wife and I, my daughter's grown, so every meal's out, okay? Wings Plus, great sponsor of ours. Chipotle, Pollo Tropical. I'm eating all this kind of stuff. Yeah. And I still lost all the weight, and I'm still losing. I was going to get into the maintaining, but it's so easy. Now, the thing about the exercise, because people ask me about this. Now, if I exercise, I'd have lost weight faster.
Well,
right, maybe?
The way we see it is exercise can assist the process, but it's not required whatsoever. A lot of the people that we see have such extreme obesity that they're out of breath just walking to the kitchen.
And I just am frankly too lazy to exercise, and
or a lot of people are too busy.
And that too. And I lost about a pound a day. All right. Mm-hmm. So if I'm losing a pound a day, I'm eating foods I want. I'm not taking any prescription medications like Ozempic or anything, and I'm not exercising. It's absolutely amazing. And there's a lot of benefits that I'm learning. I'm a coffee addict. I've been talking about this a lot. I've cut my coffee down by 50%, and that's because I have more energy because I weigh less.
Oh, absolutely. When your body gets back to burning fat as a primary fuel supply, you have that energy surge. That's the most common thing that people report.
Now, this is what I want to ask. We're coming towards the end, but I wanted to ask you this because, my 37 pounds may not sound like a lot to people, but it is a lot to me. And I see the difference in my face, my
Absolutely.
My stomach. Doc, I was looking at the day I met with you. We had a personal appearance at Wings Plus, and I looked at some of the pictures I took with listeners, and I look how I look now. I'm like embarrassed. We got to redo that appearance so I can take some new pictures.
I haven't seen you in at least a month. You look fantastic. I mean,
you should
different than a month ago.
You should see me naked, doctor. My stomach is flat.
I take your word for it.
And I've got definition, and I've got the body I had when I got married, and my 29th wedding anniversary is coming up, and it's an amazing thing. But you have people that this is what I want to talk to you about here at the end. I wanted to lose 25 pounds. I lost much more than that. But sometimes people may want to lose 20 pounds. But it also goes up, like, what's the most? Like, you have people who come in, you have patients. What's the most people come in and want to lose?
Oh my gosh, it really depends. We have people calling us who are 350 pounds that want to lose 175 pounds. And then we have people that want to fine tune to get to their ideal and want to lose 15 to 20. So
yeah.
So it doesn't matter which end of the spectrum you are, will help you accomplish your goals.
Absolutely. So listen, give Coastal Weight Loss Secret a call. Here's the number. And this is Dr. Zuckerman that's in here with us in studio, and you'll meet with him. And he did it all. Here's the number. Make sure you tell him you heard about them on the True Oldies channel, 561-247-6300, 561-247-6300, and online, coastalweightlosssecret.com. Well, thanks, Dr. Zuckerberg, for coming by, and we'll talk after the show.
My pleasure.
All right, take it. Now, Steve, I got to tell you, we have about a minute left. Today, as we've been speaking, the president is in Saudi Arabia, and we'll be covering everything that comes of that tomorrow. But, you know, another story that this plane thing's a distraction from, the last American hostage released by Hamas. And did you see him? He got on the plane and he was thanking Trump immediately. The kid was 19 when they got him. Now he's 21. That story, I know it's been reported, but not with the same celebration that it should be, right? You know, and the plane is, I'm disgusted by the plane story. That I really am. It's a disgusting, I talk about it because I think we got to set the record straight and put in perspective what's going on, but it's disgusting that they're doing that with these great things. This kid, he's lucky to be alive. Trump saved his life. Well, listen, Tuesday's over. We'll be back tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. I'm Brian Craig. Steve Kane is here. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest running radio show on the radio since 1977. Steve Kane has been here. My name is Brian Craig. We'll see you tomorrow at 6 a.m. Take care. All right, guys. Hey, listen. Make sure you subscribe if you're new. All right? I'll see you guys later. Take care.